Why not?
Life has come to.
Yeah, what has life come to?
How is it we always seem to start D&D recently? A conversation of dicks.
Because I'm very loud and probably have stuff secret
30.
in the way that I
Okay,
don't want to.
that's decent. Now, if everybody added their constitution modifiers, then,
Oh boy!
then we're looking at something scary. Anyway.
18.
James is like,
That's more for how healthy your penis is, though, Chris, not necessarily its size.
Yeah, it's
Why is that the sentence I came back to?
It's also the sentence the stream starts with, so that's interesting.
It's worth it. Worth it. Queglod, what your penis
Queglod,
size?
do you want to roll for your penis size?
I maintain Queglod gets a natural 20, or at least a +5.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, of the party, Elsyan's is the smallest, and Sam is okay with this. Elsyan is not.
Alright. Well, Queglod, you can roll for that in just a moment. But
Okay.
for the stream,
Just
hello and
Queglodding.
welcome to Crabby D&D. I'm here with my players. Sudz,
Hello.
Harlan,
That's right. Hello.
Sam,
Hello!
Simon,
Hello.
Jamie,
Hello.
and Infernal.
Hello.
Usual announcements. Thank you to Sasha for the art, tabletop audio for the sound, music, and everything else. Any combat maps were made on Dungeon Pit Studio. Any non-combat maps and more world maps were made on Incarnate.com. Go and check all of that out separately as we wait for a very important role by Simon.
Yes.
Um,
We have now officially changed from D&D to D&D&D.
Yep.
Dungeons, Dragons, and Dick Size.
No, that's D&D and DS.
Yeah. It's just no S. It's just D and D and D.
D&D and Ds.
D's.
Infernal, why are you hovering around your D100? Like,
We're
no,
not rolling
Okay,
D.
that is not the
Oh.
role we're using.
Don't worry.
just put us all to shame.
Well, to be quite fair, I've become aware of a tabletop RPG system called Fatal, and if you don't want nightmares, don't look into it.
Okay.
Why does it use D100 system?
Yes, and you roll for certain aspects of your character's physical being.
I rolled a 1 on my leg height, but my right leg I rolled 100.
No, Chris.
I'm skilled.
No,
Oh,
Chris.
God.
Legs are involved, but metaphorical ones.
Yeah, my third leg rolled a 50. It's about average.
Yeah.
Based on the length of my other legs.
Right. Is that a D100? Let's give it a go.
Oh. No D100 rolling yet. Alright, so.
I wish you got more D100s.
It would be nice, but again, not something we do. My music isn't playing.
See, I didn't notice because I had it muted. There we go.
Last session, our party of adventurers. Elsyan, Queglod, Sasha, Malcom, Bern, Rook, and Fang. With the various things going on around town, they spent some time to themselves, discussed their future plans, and ultimately decided on the next course of actions. The first step to their small adventure would be to head southeast, past the mines and into the hills and mountains in search of griffin eggs, something that's a sought-out item, but otherwise you need a license to otherwise hunt and keep. With the information on what to do, Rook proceeded to display the information to the party and let them know that this was a necessary thing within a given short amount of time. As the party agreed to doing such an errand, they decided that they would head down south via the use of a transport via plants, which they will undertake. After which they plan to head to the Enchanted Glade to see exactly what's going on there, to have a few discussions with Dippy, before finally trying to teleport to Golodon, using the memories of the party members who have otherwise had their memories returned to them, and hopefully in the attempt to make it to the Stone Ring Forest, and the centre in the mountain where they intend to beat the Prince of Blood.
Maybe.
So, as you're all sat round the table having the last minute discussions, was there anything else you wanted to bring up or do before you proceeded on with your plan?
Can I quickly run up to a board and see if he's got a book on ley line? I'm curious about what ley lines are.
Abod.
Abod.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see if he's got a book. I mean, he has a lot of things. If not, Feng might have something.
There's probably a bookstore in town we could drop by if he doesn't. There's something I might want to pick up as well.
Yeah.
You know there is a natural library.
Okay, shall we just stop by the library and stop fubbling?
Stop by the library and.
Alright.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying, we
we don't waste too
literally
much
do pay
time.
Abbott for this shit, but okay.
Fair enough.
We don't have to pay the library.
Yeah,
So,
Give it back later.
in search of this, I will say Elsyan and Rook, if the two of you could make investigation checks in an attempt to find said information. Queglod, should they fail, I will proc off of your researcher perk and
Okay.
let you know who might
I
have
got
information.
18 plus whatever my thing is.
What check was it, Chris? Investigation.
Investigation, yes.
I
Character
rolled a 7 plus my ridiculous. I believe that's a 15.
Mine is
she-
18 plus
Only 50?
load.
Really?
I rolled. Oh,
If you're proficient, it should be plus 10.
no, then 17 then.
I got
Let me double
18
check.
plus 6.
That's if he has expertise, Chris.
I got 24.
No,
Oh,
because
yeah.
remember your
Plus-
proficiency
Oh, yeah,
modifier is
yeah.
plus 5 now.
Yep.
17 and 24. Going into the library. This being your first time, Rook, it's a little bit more difficult to decide where you might want to go. Elsyan, you, knowing the area fairly well, you travel in and use whatever references you could do to try and find the book. Elsyan, as you... Well, not Elsyan. Rook, as you head to the main desk, you ask the main clerk there as she welcomes you in. She doesn't recognize you, but she kind of points you in the general direction. She leads you to a group of books and says that shows you that one of them is based on what ley lines are and what they do for the natural wildlife. She goes on to briefly explain that the other books that might otherwise be more detailed, you would need to speak to the individuals in charge to get access to, as it typically requires you to be performing a study of some kind and are otherwise held by the Arcanum in town for their personal use.
Okay, alright.
But you otherwise have them.
Okay, right. Well, I'll take that book, and are we going to need the more detailed ones? I think that probably, because I need to know how Blind Butcher's shell is affecting ley lines, so I'm probably going to need more information about how it affects the magic, rather than animals. I like animals.
It's magic. It's magic in nature and what it does. So the
Okay,
general terminology of how a ley line functions.
okay. Alright, in that case, I'm taking that book, Elsyan, you can deal with the witch grottery. I have my book.
Elsyan, as you go looking over, you find various references, and you find that all the sources seem to be elsewhere, suggesting that they are part of a general study. So they are otherwise under somebody else's control.
So what you're saying is you can't actually get a book on ley lines, sir?
Other than the general one, no.
We don't have time to go getting a... We don't have time to deal with arcane scholars. There are...
We have a basic book. That might give us...
It will give us some information. If you just wait here...
What information in particular were you looking for, out of interest?
just information in regards to what they are and how they impact everything. So I guess this general book would help.
That should probably do. If you bear with me a second, Chris, I'm going to go look for a smithing book because I want. Yes.
Yep, you wanted to go get one of those. Okay. Easily enough, you look around and you find one that catches your attention. You pick it up. It'll help you learn
Smithing for dummies.
But
I feel offended.
But it's true.
It's true.
I'll look over Elsyan. I was like, if you want a hand with that, I'm quite happy to help you.
I would like that very much. I'd rather ask you than Sasha. Although,
yeah,
I have to admit, Sasha's probably a pretty good teacher at it. I can't admit that. I threw up in my mouth a little bit even saying that. Let's go.
No worries.
I'd like to take this book out. I don't just put it in my bag and walk out. That's called stealing.
You stamp the books out. You can have them out for a maximum of 1 month, after which you have to return them. Otherwise, you will have to pay for the cost of the book, and they will still ask for it to be returned.
if I take the book and don't pay them, what are they going to do? Send the mob after me?
Librarian
Probably.
Mafia.
You know what? Wouldn't put it past them.
Just a group of level 20 librarians that are like, like hang on, what?
Okay,
Oh,
they can all
jeez.
cast silence as a cantrip.
Oh, that would be evil.
It'd be evil, but you still got to cast it as an action. And quite frankly, that's not going to protect them from being smacked in the face.
True, but it's when they cast global silence that you have to worry about.
Oh no. They come together and ritual cast global silence
Oh my
until
God.
a book is returned. There have been catastrophic times where a book was not returned, and then the threats were ignored.
Campaign
Silent
2,
days.
Campaign 2, the Librarians Guild. Perfect.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Alright. So you pick up your books.
That's perfect.
Have?
Goes well with your specialization.
I mean, it kind of does. Anyway. You gather up your things, you have your books. Is there anything else anybody else wanted to do?
I wanted to speak to Queglod and Rook.
Okay.
Alright.
I am.
Queglod.
I'll say everybody else mute yourself for this.
Yes, Bern?
I assume Rook is with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
We figured something out with Rook while I was looking at his gauntlets.
Oh.
Seems they are made in honor of the Raven Queen. The guy who, the person who made them in their honor. Or in her.
I see. Do you happen to know who that was?
Jamie?
and here we go. Chris, can I do a history check by any chance?
Oh.
Instead of spending 10 minutes going through my book.
Who was this? What was the detail you wanted again?
The name of the person that made the gauntlets.
Name of the gauntlets creator.
Same guy that made the axe.
I'll give it to you. I just need to find my note on it. It's in one of my documents. I know which one, and I've opened up the two that it could possibly.
I know it was made 500 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was made by Starseeker or Starspeaker Darius Ironfist. Is the person who made the gauntlets. Get that?
Yep.
Darius.
Would you know anything about it?
That is an excellent question. Chris?
Roll me a history check.
Exactly.
Okay.
+7 on history, so.
Okay.
21.
21. Thinking back on it, the Comet Strike is being made by Darius Ironfist. That's something it's interesting information. The more interesting information from that, you actually pick up where they know about the honorary mention to the Raven Queen. You remember that the individual who used to wield these, Trojan Maskid, is the brother of Myrin Maskid, the person who used to wield Nightmaker. And, in fact, the elder brother. Both of them being devout individuals to the Raven Queen. The gauntlets, being previously owned by him, were made to be for the Raven Queen's use. The nature of them being made before his time is perplexing.
Yeah. How so?
Because they were divine artifacts made by Jericho, the wait, was it? No, Maverick. Sorry,
Maverick.
who was at the top of the Sun-Kissed Mountains. But if these were made 500 years ago, that would precede them by 250 years. It's strange, it doesn't quite make sense.
That is unusual. I'll have to ask about this. So yes, so far as I'm aware, it's only these two that are special in that sense. That they're older.
Yeah.
Is Nightmaker old as well?
Yes, Nightmaker, its original creator came back from before, so older than Comet Strikers.
Even older, okay.
Yeah. How much older you don't know, you'd have to cast appraisal on it. But...
Okay. But yes, that is what we figured out.
Okay, very well. I'll look into that. Thank you.
Okay, it just seemed fitting to say.
Yes.
I was
yes,
quite surprised when I was told.
That is unusual. Did you mention it had something to do with the axe as well?
Yeah, so they were made at the same time as the axe by the same person. So I'm not sure how comes the Comet
Yes, they're made from
Strikers-
the same material.
And they're made from the bronze shard. I think it's
Curious as to how that.
I found out it was called the Bronze Tier, I was calling it the wrong name.
tier. Right, bronze tier. Recross. Okay.
I'm curious as to how that relates to the Prince of Blood. Then the Prince and the axe are
Well,
very
it
closely
also,
related.
we figured out that it kind of negated his other curse that the axe.
Oh yeah, the gauntlets kind of enable me. I mean, it turns into a wet noodle, but I can kind of wield other weapons. So a spear can become a slapstick. Because it doesn't really serve much of a purpose.
Interesting. But if they limit the curse, then Nightmaker was incomplete when I found it. Is it possible the Comet Strikers are similar?
Either
Well-
similar or he needs the other parts.
Yeah, I mean they both come from one meteor. Maybe there's other things that have been made out of that meteor that are in this world. Maybe I need to find them out. I don't know. Maybe I need to get a complete set or reunite all of the bits of the meteor. I'm really not sure. This has raised more questions than it's answered.
Yes, there are a lot of questions now. There's a flame, correct, in Golodon? Which relates to the axe?
Yes.
And whoever's in charge of that may know something.
Yes.
They sound
I,
like ask.
I hope to ask and I hope to get some information in regards to that. We'll see.
Alright. I'll attempt to ask the Raven Queen. She knows.
Okay.
Yes. Queglod, there's also some other information.
Oh yeah?
The blood that I acquired from the monster in the ravine, I drank it and got some of its memories. I believe I saw your entire family in those memories. Seems they're the ones making these.
Yeah, that doesn't
They
surprise me.
created them as babies and let them go on for decades and hundreds of years to grow up.
That tracks it must. As I understand, the one that we fought in the school was there to prevent anyone else from summoning,
Well,
since it was physically chained to the crest.
Well, it was chained to the crest, and he was put in a tree before the Darkreep Ruin was a thing, I believe. And then it was kicked out by an emerald dragon. And was put in the school to protect them. And it was put into protection until they came for it. There were 2 others. I think one of which you defeated, and then there are 2 others. One of them was in complete silence. One of them was making giant roars. The one which I was looking through, and then there was one more, I believe, which was clawing at the floor. Is that right?
There was the one that was clawing at the floor. There was the one that was beaten, which was the one that was screaming, laughing,
Yeah,
roaring.
roaring, laughing, screaming.
And then there was the last one, which was dead silent the entire time.
And the one we just defeated. Which of your family members are still alive?
My parents are around. Doubt they're truly alive in the conventional sense, but it's difficult to know. And my sister is still alive.
Okay. Yes, in the memories I saw her as a small child, and then she grew up, and I believe she was the one that took the monster to the school.
That is correct.
What were the exact words she said? Let's see if I wrote them down.
Which ones?
When she left it at the school.
Which ones? The ones in protection? Or...
Yeah.
Yeah. You are safe here. They will not They will not come for you until you leave. Stay as long as you need to.
That's what she said, yeah. Don't know who they
This is
are.
a problem then if they're free now.
It seems we will have to meet 2 more of those.
I will say, if we encounter any more of them, and it's not clear that there's anyone controlling, they're just in a secluded location, that'd be probably best to simply leave.
Well, they're not really being controlled. They've been let to grow on their own. And they're being controlled by fear and they're just strong.
Everything?
And
Bern.
I also wanted to ask Rook, what happened with that white liquid?
Oh, I have given it to Gree.
Ah,
It was a solvent, like a universal solvent. And
A what?
Gree asked if she could have it, and I was like, well, yeah.
It was a what?
A universal solvent. It was
What?
mostly depleted. But yeah, that was that. So
Do
Gree
me
has
and
it.
Queglod have any idea what that is?
It's as it sounds. It's a solvent that could be potentially used for anything, but outside of that, you don't know what other properties it would have, if it has any.
A soul? What? I still don't understand.
A solvent.
I have no idea what that is.
It
Breaks
breaks
down glue
stuff.
and stuff.
Yeah, breaks down stuff that would hold things together.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, Grease wanted, so I was like, okay, Gree can have. But she also told me to say something to you about another way to Golodon should we have an issue was via your organisation. Apparently there's a entrance down by Lothalem, is it? Lothalem? I'm trying to remember. Your organisation.
Straight in between Golodon and Lottalin. Yeah, right here.
There's an
And where?
entrance there.
Wait, now which map are you? Oh, there.
Here.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about this one. I knew about this one here.
Yeah, they have ones around most of the mountain.
But Gree told me to tell you that, should you not be able to just teleport there or anything like that, there is another way. And that's your organisation.
I see. Was not aware of that. Thank you.
That's okay.
That might be the easiest way to get there then. But have to go through the back to the headquarters. And,
Well, there shouldn't be any complication.
yeah,
Should there?
that is true. Well, if the teleport doesn't work, then we can do that.
There's always that as a fallback.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Alright. I suppose if you're happy with the book, then we ought to.
Head off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If reading the book leaves you with any particular questions, look around Golodon. See if there's any more specific books available.
True, and whatever I dig up from it that seems relevant, I'll be sure to pass on to the rest of you, in case you have any ideas or input in regards to what it is. I mean, my knowledge of magic and ley lines and things is sketchy. I don't know any of it, but that's why I've got the book.
Alright. Let's go find the others and head off.
Right.
Head back, the rest of your group. Is there anything else anybody wants to do before you leave?
We still have to get Rook's papers.
Rooks. Oh, for having a monster
For
creature
Griffin.
around town, yes, but you don't have the creature to register yet.
Oh, you
I
said
assume we go
you
along for me
said
then.
that we had to have the paper first.
Yeah, but he's getting an egg. It's not like it's going to hatch instantly.
Well, I need to get one.
It's also technically not his until it grows up enough. Because you've got to give it to the arena to take care of, or it's not going to hatch.
True. I need to get one though, so
Yeah, you'll need to get one, so...
guess we'll do that.
Yeah. Okay. So, you give up the 100 gold, registering your rust monster as a creature that will be allowed. Won't necessarily be... Due to the nature of rust monsters, and you being in the crafts district, it won't be allowed to leave your house. But it's registered and allowed to wander around without people interfering with it, as long as it doesn't attack people.
That's fine.
But that costs 100 gold. The Griffin
Even
you
if I
can't
wanted it,
register
won't
until you
be
got it
allowed?
yet.
You said it won't be allowed outside even if I'm with him?
Yes, because unfortunately a rust monster in a crafting area filled with metal is probably a bad idea. So,
That's
Administer leeway as a charge on having a creature that is an unorthodox pet, by allowing it to stay at your home without being allowed outside to a very dangerous area.
That's bad.
So, anything else? Or is that all?
No, that's it. That's what I wanted to know.
Should we grab some nets just in case?
That's kind of actually sound logic.
Be a good idea, especially if Rook's able to use them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, they're not a weapon. I can't see why not. Yeah.
Nets are technically a weapon, but because you can just throw them off of your belt, they're basically
Yeah.
just, with your newfound effect, it will be a wet noodle for all parts of once for half a second. So,
Oh, that's fine then.
and nets are wet noodles anyway, so it's not like it's going to do anything.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I can use them. So, excellent. Okay, grab some nets then on the way out.
I heard someone insulting nets. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome. We
So.
missed you.
So, you gather up a few nets. They're not that expensive, so I'll say just take 15 gold off, and we'll say you got 3 nets. I can't remember how much they are.
Okay. No worries. I'll do that.
Yep, so you take that off. You grab the nets, you place them to your side, and kind of latch them on, and you prepare to get ready to go. How were you proceeding to get to the base of the mountain again?
From
I
what
believe
I
it's
can
travel
remember,
via plants.
yeah, to the wolves, weren't it? Travel by plants to that tree.
Roughly where the wolves were.
Yeah. Then weren't we going to rest for the night, go in the morning, then travel via plants from there to the enchanted glade? If I'm
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, after
Yeah.
we get the eggs.
depending on what happens. So, you there, Malcolm?
Yeah.
You wander up to the tree in your back garden, you place your hands against it. As you're all standing there ready, you watch as the 6th level spell, Transport via Plants, is cast. As the tree itself tears open, you see kind of a swirling portal on the inside beginning to form as you're quickly rushed through it. You all travel through. You travel through into a relatively thin tree, which has otherwise been pulled outwards as the portal opens. You rush through, making your way through, as each of you step into loose rocks. I would like everybody who isn't Malcolm to make me a dexterity saving throw, please. As you get your general footing.
It's 15 plus 4 plus 19.
13.
13.
Elsyan and Sasha? Hello, Elsyan and Sasha? Hello?
I think
No,
they're
Greg.
caught in.
My mic was muted. What? We're not cutting. Oh, 17.
17, okay, you're fine. And Sasha is either not here or muted or whatever, I don't know. As a 14 minus 1, 13. Okay, miraculously, all of you who are either experienced adventurers, shocker, or otherwise had fun with rocks before, all of you step onto this new terrain, but none of you are caught off guard. You move, you shift, you otherwise catch yourselves as you kind of tumble out a little bit, but you otherwise make it out onto the other side, with Malcolm being the last one to head through. As you stand there on the rocky surface of the face, you kind of look up at the skies. This far south and with the mountains, it's going to be a windy day, but you're not likely to get any rain, which is good. Rain would mean that the griffins would stay at home. The females will stay regardless because they are eggs, and you cannot abandon the eggs. But nonetheless, you're now on the hunt for attempting to find a griffin nest. So, who is leading in this, and how are you leading?
Malcolm? Do you want to lead?
What do you mean by how?
How? Are you just going off of general sense? Are you going off of memory? Are you using things like spells to fly or to locate? What are you doing?
I'm just going to be going off of what I know about griffins and from what I previously had seen.
Okay. Make me a nature check.
Can I aid him in that?
How would you like to aid him?
Well, can I use my survival to look at roughly where they could be, knowing animals and creatures and read the book?
Okay, go ahead and make me a survival check then.
That's 13 plus 6.
19, and what was your total, Malcolm?
27.
27. As the two of you kind of come together and you think about this, with Malcolm, your knowledge of griffins and roughly where they would sleep and stay, they build their nests on high ledges, usually near a large number of trees to kind of give them cover and shade during rough weather. You kind of take that into account, and knowing what you previously knew and where you guessed they were previously from the previous year when you saw them settling down for winter before they were heading south, you take that and you guide yourself, you begin to head off in that direction, traveling up the mountains. With Rook being more of the pathfinder individual, he leads the charge, heading up, kind of spotting the direction in which the party should go, keeping them out of any difficult obstacles or a pathway which would otherwise be favourable for their party members, given some of you are not the greatest climbers. As you head up the outside of the mountain, travelling for the better part of an hour or so, you make it over a couple of the mountain lines as you make it up closer to the top, and you see off in the distance a series of mountains which have a little bit of dense cloud cover hanging around, where they reach up quite high. And from your general knowledge, that would be a prime location for such nests. They are high away from ground predators. Burrowing predators wouldn't be too keen on going that high in altitude, due to the nature of surfacing, but they would also have a general outlook upon the land below. As you proceed to travel onwards that way, making the journey, the two of you see coming up where the larger mountains begin to meet a large bunch of trees as the forest begins to become denser. As you begin to move through the trees, you find that the foliage here is relatively new, and for pines that's interesting. Where they are evergreens, they would shed their old leaves and they'd begin to grow some new ones at this time of year, so it makes sense. But the new leaves are falling off. As you begin to kind of examine them, something's not quite right with them.
Okay.
Do you continue on?
I'd like to see if I can figure out what's going on with the trees. Why they're like this.
How would you like to do so?
I would like to take off some bark from one of the trees and take a look at the trunk, the inner part of the trunk itself, see if there's anything different.
Okay. Taking a knife or another sharp object, you kind of cut a small bit of the bark away. As it peels away, the pine has a red and sticky sap which pulls in strings from the actual pine. That's very unnatural. Kind of have a look around, and you get a general sense that these trees, in one way or another, are otherwise diseased. Something has spread to them.
I'd like to take the bit of the bark that I have that it does have the sap on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to put that away for later examination.
Okay. You take a jar, you kind of slot the little bit of bark in, screw the top on, and you place it into your satchel. Anybody else?
I might take a bit as well. Put it in one of Grease jars.
Okay. take a bit of the bark also. Again, more of the red sap kind of pulls away, kind of sticks to it as it forms these long, thin strands.
Yeah, fuck it, I will as well. With my newfound hobby in herbalism,
Okay.
Elsyan's going to pick it up
Fair enough.
as well. To
Take
see
a
what it
piece.
can do with it.
You take a piece, you take one of your jars and vials from your herbalism kit, you take a slither and you get more of the liquid in there, but you otherwise jam a bit of bark in there and cork the top.
Anyone else want any? As we all seem to be taking a piece.
Seems like we probably have enough samples. What exactly do you plan to do to investigate them?
I was going
Me?
to take it to Gree or a board and see if they could identify it, and if it's something that's going to kill the trees, potentially going to affect the griffins in the future, we might have to take down these diseased trees.
I
Or
was going to take
Adamantha
it to
will.
a dryad.
That's fair.
And I'm just going to see what fun things I can do with it.
Classic Elsyan.
I was going to take it to a dryad.
That's
They're not the
quite a good
friendliest
idea.
bunch, are they?
Well,
Test.
I mean the one that I have working in my service.
That. Okay, I've missed so much. You've got a.
You've had a dryad since level 5 as your gardener for your tavern.
Okay, you know full well I don't pay attention.
I know, but I just thought I'd point it out. You've had a dryad as your gardener since level 5.
Alright.
Interesting.
I'm glad.
So,
Now,
how easy is it to tell the diseased from the...
Hey, Elsyan, you want to know something else that's a kicker?
Go on.
Courtesy of the Elven Sanctuary, or the Emerald Sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking rage.
Dear.
Terrible place. It's almost like I went in there to steal something from them.
Well,
And he did.
what did you ask, Simon?
So, how easy is it to tell the diseased from the healthy trees?
Good question. Do there look like there are any healthy trees around here?
I'll say roll me your choice of survival, not survival. Survival, investigation, or perception. Your choice.
Can I roll?
I'll allow you to roll as well if you wish to. And Elsyan, seeing as you got a piece, you can do a survival, perception, or investigation.
That is 18.
Which
Which was my investigation. Okay.
Going to mine's
That's
going to be
a 29, Chris.
Cool, 3 very strong rolls.
28. For
You said I could do
survival.
investigation, Chris.
Yeah.
That's plus 10.
No,
That's
I know. It's expected. So 29, 28, and Rook.
18.
Okay, and what were you each rolling?
I was-
Survival for me.
I was rolling investigation.
As was I. As it's just the best for me.
So, with the investigation, looking around, Rook, looking through all the bits on the kind of the ground, looking at the trees, investigating them a little bit further, the bark is loose. Like, it's almost like the trees itself are bleeding this sap, and it is loosening up the bark as if it's going to fall off and shed. It's strange. It's not something that you've ever come across, and looking at it, that explains why a lot of the leaves are coming off. They're probably being pushed out and kind of broken off of the small branches. Elsyan, as you begin to investigate, you kind of look around and you see that there are a few what look to be healthier trees. As you get a look, the bark is tougher. It's not as loose. But looking at the roots, you can see where the roots are beginning to almost not bubble, but there are bits on them that are kind of warped in a strange manner. Usually you'd find knots on trees naturally, and that would be fine. But in the roots, they are larger, almost like it's a cyst or a tumor.
Thinking they're ground.
Well,
And these are on the healthy trees. With your, what was it, survival? Malcom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He rolled survival.
As you kind of look around and you get a general sense, you kind of go up, you sniff a few of the trees, and the infected ones smell rather, I'm not going to say rotten, but they have a very slight the kind of smell and taste of decay. Something that you've smelt before with creatures like carrion crawlers and like the place where you've just been, pits of death. It has a very, very faint scent like that. And smelling some of the fresh trees, they smell like sweet pine. And they actually have a sweetish smell to them. Suggesting that the easiest way to tell between each of the trees and what they actually, if they're healthy or not, is the smell.
So if they smell bad, they're dying?
Presumably.
Essentially. Judging by the ones that are healthy but have pustules on the roots, I'm assuming something in the ground.
That would make sense.
Well,
would Elsyan know some basic knowledge on ley lines?
He'd know a little bit.
Okay.
It's looking at these, you couldn't really say it would be like, oh, this would be ley line issues because you don't know if there's a source of ley line energy.
I mean,
nearby.
it effectively would be a case of I would hypothesize to be like, I don't know if there's a ley line here, but there could be something fucky's happening.
Any natural disaster or abnormal thing that crops up in the world could be caused by ley line, magic, or it could just naturally have occurred through various natural means. So,
through
it's a
those tectonic plate movements that you've mapped out, Chris.
Yeah.
Cool.
You bet I have. I have them. I can open the map on my left screen if I want to.
Oh, fuck off! Do you have them actually mapped?
I do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You've actually bothered to map them.
Wait, there were bulbs on their roots?
Yeah, yes, there were.
Yeah,
there were
there
like
were pustules.
there were knots on the healthy roots,
Hmm.
like large knots on the roots.
And by that, the ones that aren't healthy don't have those knots. do they?
Correct.
Maybe these
Okay.
are actually good for the. These look like they're the most vital for the plant health.
right. Well, I was planning to have Felipe fly ahead, see if I could find any signs of Griffin close by there. But I can have him look to see how far the infection is spread as well.
Yeah,
Remember,
sounds
I
like a
don't
good
know
idea.
if we really have the time to be
Hmm.
worrying about this right now, but if we can
Got
get some information,
Hmm.
Got to be as
once there's fewer crises on our plate, we have to come back to.
oh, that's. Oh, we're never going to get fewer crises on our plate.
True, but we might have some of them under control for.
Sorry. But we do need to be quick. As quick as we can be, without being stupid, that is.
Well, I'll have Felipe do some scouting. I'll see how much he can figure out. Okay, Chris, I'd like to have Felipe fly up overhead.
Okay.
And
I would like to take a look around and see if I can find any of the things that I found the last time I was on the mountain.
I may have spelt this wrong, but oh well. I'm putting it here because. So you were going to look for what again? Sorry.
Any of the things that I found the last time on the mountain.
The plant wise, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Queglod, you were looking for. You were just having Felipe see how far the infection had spread.
yeah, I want him to look for any signs of the things we're looking. Yeah, the griffins that we're actually looking for as well.
Okay.
We know at this point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
see if I can find any
Yeah.
Wow, Willy Wonka. That's a real famous name. Alright, we're back. Fug BT. Yeah, all that good stuff. Yeah. So, what were the last things you said, Simon?
only that Queglod is not that helpful in like cross-country exploration for the most part.
You were sending Felipe
So the most productive thing I can do is have Felipe
Okay.
shout out. Awesome.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check for Felipe, please.
Will do as soon as I've loaded it.
Glorious.
This may take a few moments.
That's fine.
That's alright.
So as you're kind of all looking around doing your various experiments, Queglod kind of shoulders Felipe as she busts her hand out. He kind of raises his wings, just lifts off and begins to fly through the trees in the direction you're headed. As Felipe begins to scoot back and forth, kind of glittering and moving, high or low among the trees. So above the canopy, below the canopy, or near to the ground?
Above the canopy is probably more useful for finding signs of griffins. Below is probably more useful for scouting trees. I'm gonna say below, since you should probably be able to see.
Okay.
At least if they've landed it. See.
Okay. So, you ready to all meet that? Does anybody else want to do anything while Felipe's doing a little bit of scouting?
Besides for looking for what I said.
What were you looking for again, sorry?
The same thing I found the last time I was on the mountain.
Oh yes, go ahead and make me a perception check. Close.
19.
Looking around for the various bits on what you're trying to look for, you look for signs of the plants that were previously here. The plants that were here, most of the ones which you collected were pre-winter, so they've obviously gone. They're not necessarily going to be sticking around all this time, and quite a few of them wouldn't necessarily come up at this time of year. Most of them will come up in about a month or so's time, once the leaf litter from the old leaves has turned into mulch and had time to decompose. So the timing for any of the plants is unfortunately rather difficult at this time of year. Looking around, you don't see any of them, but you understand why. And perception for Felipe, please.
Yes. Is 16.
16. As Felipe flies, soaring just below the canopy, but not too low to the ground, kind of travelling between each of the trees, noting quite a few of the trees are diseased in this direction, but they begin to get denser and denser. The fresher and the livelier trees are disappearing quite quickly. As you continue to make your way on, Felipe kind of slows as it goes from being a flat level to a more angular level, climbing. As Felipe begins to climb and move up one of the slope of the mountain with the trees begin to become a little bit more sparse. But Felipe begins to notice a few more irregularities. Felipe notices that near the base of some of the trees there are white clusters, almost like sea urchins, giant sea urchins, about 1.5 feet across, covered in these white specks and strings. And as kind of Felipe stops there and hovers, what would you like Felipe to do?
So if I have a closer look at one of these clusters, land and near to one, not too.
Okay.
Get a bit of a better idea.
Felipe lands, kind of landing on the ground. The ground is kind of squishy. As Felipe kind of looks up and around, a lot of the leaves are peeled off. There are very few left on the tree at this point. And as Felipe kind of pops up near the kind of the white pustule, it's just slowly kind of flutters as the wind rushes by, but otherwise it doesn't move at all. It doesn't react. Getting a closer look, it just looks like a fuzzy ball of mold almost. What will Felipe do next?
Was worried about it bursting, it pokes it. It's not gonna sort of For now, I'll probably have him just continue the search. Report this back to the other.
Report this back to the rest of the party.
Yes,
At this point, you've continued moving. With your other investigations in the area done, you proceed to continue moving forward in the direction. Felipe scouting the way. There's not much issue. You travel on, and Felipe flies forward. And as Felipe continues to fly, you using your vision through Felipe. Felipe comes to where the trees begin to thin out. There are no leaves on these trees. As they've gotten higher up, the floor is also not covered with the leaves. It seems they've been blown off as if they were too loose. And the trees begin to become a lot sparser as you begin to get higher into the canopy, or higher into the altitude. You see the low-level cloud not too far away, maybe about another 4 or 5 hours of journey. You see, kind of up in the cliff tops, what looks to be a series of flat alcoves that have been carved out by something or someone.
From what's this infection seems to be spreading from down. It seems to be worse for those that are higher up. I don't know if that would be unexpected or, but it's worth bearing.
Sound good.
There are also some alcoves up ahead. They seem like something that was made somewhat deliberate, so that might bode well for our search at least.
Is Felipe flying towards them, or is Felipe flying away?
Felipe's going to get a little closer, but try and be somewhat cautious.
Okay. As Felipe begins to kind of fly up, Felipe moves, kind of moving up towards the alcove, flies up, and as Felipe kind of gets within distance, you begin to see twigs and bones sticking out from the edge of the plateau. Looking up, you can see bits of feather fluff as well, and the bones themselves. Looking at them generally, they're rather large, from some larger creature, you're not entirely sure what. But you see the twigs are in place, and looking about, the area where these alcoves have been carved seem to have been carved by a creature. They are not man-made or carved out. They have been naturally eroded, or the creature has made its lair there. There seem to be about 4 or 5 in this area looking. In that moment, Felipe hears as 2 large claws from a griffin come down and, because of its stealth, well, natural 20 on its stealth, hits Felipe successfully and otherwise grabs Felipe, and the claws tear into the wings and the torso, holding it in place as a beak clenches around, and Felipe disappears.
Well, good news and bad news. The good news is I've found griffins.
Bad news?
Or we no longer have a Felipe.
Huh.
That'll be
Pub
fine.
Thing or okay, good.
Okay, until
Is
your
there
next long rest, you
anything-
have advantage to attack against the griffin that attacked you.
Griffin.
And
That
you
is
know
very
roughly
good.
where it is as well, so it's a homing.
Okay.
What else was seen?
There were little alcove areas. It looked very much like they'd been dug out deliberately, or at least some of the work. Do griffins normally do that? My
Do they?
understanding was they nested in trees.
I
As
don't
I
think
knew, they
do.
were in the top of trees.
From the information the two of you have, griffins have a tendency to either use the top of trees, the particularly large trees, to nest their young in, or alternatively they will land on flat ground and then they will set themselves up that is typically under the cover of trees. For them to be carved out suggests that either a creature that lived there before them did it, or that potentially the male that is housing itself there is being inventive, which suggests a need for change.
Yeah, I'm guessing whatever's going on with these trees isn't helping them too much.
No.
If I'm right that the problem is worse at higher altitudes, probably the trees they would normally nest in.
I'm dead.
Hmm.
This could be a problem from Adamanthia. I mean, if they're not going to get food from the trees and life up here, then the chances are they're going to come down the mountains.
Which, due to your knowledge on griffins, is a lot worse, because they like to eat horses. And if farmers are losing pack animals, the farmers can't do their job. A time of war where food is desperately needed, that's the last thing they need.
Okay, we're going to have to warn someone about this then.
Looks like we've got a conversation with that new lot in Adamantia then.
Harry, isn't it? Or Henry? Begins with H. Where's
Henry, or Harold.
Harold.
we
That-
get that-
Henry, Harry, yeah, let's just go through all of the future or past British
Harrison.
monarchs. Heresy.
Heresy? No, I never said that, Chris. My mind is always on heresy. I mean, it is. I don't
It
make it
is.
that obvious.
I can tell.
Heresy. Harrison, I said.
Oh, Harrison. Heresy's
It
still
is.
a good name, though.
I got to admit, I do like that name.
Now,
Isn't
Sam.
that a singer? Oh no, that's Halsey.
Now, Sam, you just need to invent a body spray called Heresy.
Interesting.
Heresy body spray. Made by the
Have a
Inquisition.
9-pointed star on it, not an 8-pointed star, so it's legally distinct. Or,
It's chaos.
I get GW to agree for an actual one, call it heresy, have an 8-pointed star on it, and it will smell like shit. Because on the bottom there'll be a Nurgle symbol.
Oh no, you get to choose. You get to choose the stench of Nurgle.
Slanesh. Okay, what you get
Oh
is
man.
you get Nurgle, which is just the worst shit you can smell. The smell of blood for Khorne. The smell of Machiavellian schemes. I don't know how you can get that, but you've got to for Zinch. And for Slanesh, a rave. A rave will do. Just get sweat from a rave.
Anyway. So,
Jesus Christ.
as you continue proceeding onwards, travelling up, using the best of your ability to traverse through the trees, you begin to climb, and it begins to get higher and higher. After about 3 hours of travelling, you reach a fair altitude where you're getting to the point where the trees are starting to thin, and you see, as the route you've taken isn't exactly the same as Felipe's, you're beginning to see more of these trees with pustules. Noting across all of them, they are on the ground near the roots.
And remind me, the trees that had these pustules, are they infected or healthy?
They are infected and they are long dead. The bark has
Okay.
fallen away from them. There is no sap in sight. They are completely skinned trees. I will say, yeah, I'll just say it because most of you would pick this up. Those of you with herbalism or some proficiency in medicine would know this. This is looking like a fungal infection, which is a good and a bad thing. A good thing is it can be burned or treated. That's typically one and the same, or a way of overcoming it. The bad thing is if it's spread this far and it's in the root network of a lot of the trees, there's no saving this forest.
So we've got a forest full of fungus. Interesting.
Fungal forest and angry griffins.
This sounds like an orc invasion, Chris, and not with a C.
Orcs start growing out of the trees. Roll for initiative, bitches.
There was
They got their sluggers and choppers.
I mean,
in the
they won't, but
giant cave we went. There was a giant fungal forest there.
Oh, yes.
Where is that relative here? Don't know that we know precisely.
From a rough estimation, other than being potentially very deep below, it is roughly in this area.
Can we do like an intelligence check or something to try and work
Go
it
for
out
it.
at least?
Yeah.
I keep trying to go to pick up my actual dice, and
The curse of the DM. The amount of times I do that in other D&Ds.
I
Roll! Oh yeah, I'm supposed to roll in the actual game, and that's why I roll so badly. I roll all the good dice at home.
for some reason I can't get to the server. Wonderful.
Can't?
Someone roll for me.
Is anybody else in the server?
I am.
I am.
Okay.
It's
I
just
think all
me.
of us are except
Okay.
That's fine. That's understandable.
Yeah, if you want to roll.
So,
Okay.
someone roll
So
for me.
7 plus 5 for your intelligence. Oh, so say Malcom will do one, given he's got a high intelligence and can understand this kind of thing. Okay. From the general geology, you guesstimate that it would be directly below you, somewhere. The nature of where it would be, if it is a fungal infection of that scale, it coming to the surface is good and bad, because the fungus that grew underground was absent of light, which means that this fungus should die out on its own once summer hits. But as it currently stands, you cannot be certain.
Oh well. It's a line of thinking. Fungus would like to grow up through the ground. Might have taken years to get up here if it was.
So, you see a bunch of these trees around with the white pustules. Are any of you doing anything, or?
No. I'm not gonna touch that. Fungus is bad.
Are these sort of rock growths normal for dead trees, or
Roll me an H check.
they don't seem normal? But
From where you come in the Highlands, pine trees are all the range. They grow naturally quite a lot because of the terrain that you were in. You were in typically a high altitude tundra or taiga-like area. A fair number of these pine trees around, you were used to seeing them. The diseases that typically affected trees in this manner, typically when they spread, they didn't spread quickly. They spread relatively slowly, and when they were infected, it typically was due to some abnormal effect. Looking at the dead trees, this isn't a disease you've ever encountered.
okay.
I assume Vira can't understand anything about it.
If you want to release Vira, you can, but you'll be bloodied.
Could you not do it if I go up and like grab it?
You can if you, she'd be able to then.
Alright, I'll go.
Okay. Did you go up to one of the white pustules or a tree or what?
Yeah, white posture.
You go up to the white pustule, you kind of place your hand against it. As you do, you immediately watch it and release a cloud of spores in your vicinity. You're
No
otherwise
one breathed those in.
immune to disease because of Vira,
Yes.
so the effect of the spores has no effect on you.
Does she pick anything up?
The nature of this disease seems to be killing plants only, but the nature of it, in the way that it has evolved, it's not a natural disease. It's one that's either evolved or it has erratically changed from a natural disease. The only thing that she manages to pick up is that it is fast spreading and that it is airborne if released from these pustules, meaning that it will go where the wind goes.
God, if this gets down the mountain and actually into Adamanthia, this is going to be a big problem. Or the forest? Yeah, I mean, if this, or alternatively, if this goes down and spreads across all these mountains and gets to the Enchanted Glade, This could be an even bigger problem.
Anyone have any idea what to do then?
That's actually a question. The Enchanted Glade and the magic that protects that makes it difficult to travel around. If the forest would become infected, how well would that stand up?
I'll say, Elsyan, make me a nature check.
Oh lord.
Because you, as an elf, have more experience and where you grow up with enchanted forests of particular design.
I didn't like the forest. There were bugs there.
Yeah, very big bugs. That's canon now.
Very big, stabby bugs. They're called bandits.
Oh damn! I'm
They're
not
called-
looking forward to seeing bandit bugs.
Bandito mosquito.
Chris, Bandito Mosquito is a very closely kept Elven Kingdom secret.
What do they
Yes,
do? They stab you and they drink your blood and then they steal your money.
He is a number. No. It is just one. That's not bad.
It's
he's just
only one that does it.
21. No, not 21. 19.
19.
No. He's the bandit king, and he is the most wanted bandit in the Elven Kingdom.
He's that indestructible mosquito from One Punch Man.
Exactly. Everyone thinks they've killed him. He just comes back the next day. Turns out he has a cleric friend.
He's a level 20 mystic.
No, he's got a cleric friend. That's all. He just stabs people, dies, and gets resurrected.
But Sam, what if Elsyan got his powers from being bitten by an insect?
Oh my
He got
god!
powers by being bitten by a radioactive bandit.
For God's sake! Just wow.
Oh, it's just gold. Alright. By the way, Harlan, if you are here and you're saying stuff, we can't hear you, but we can see your name flashing every now and then. Just thought I'd point that out. So,
We don't hear you.
He was having a real issue with Discord this morning. Like, massive issue. It took him nearly 2 hours to actually sort it out.
I
Wow.
thought it was a bit peaceful.
he's got 40 minutes until his 2 hours are up. Alright, and he can talk.
I think where the voices is where the sound coming through, he's not going to be kicked out.
Well, that's good. Alright. Anyway, as you kind of think back with enchanted forests have a guardian. The guardian is the one who will destroy or disrupt the flow of most diseases. And as you know, Dippy is the guardian. As long as Dippy is there, the forest will not be infected and will not spread. If the infection is too powerful for Dippy, the forest will be wiped out depending on how quickly it manages to flow through it, and if another guardian that's stronger takes its place. But guardians typically take years to actually come into effect. Unless there's intervention via a druid or other means.
Okay, that could be. Alright. So it could be alright, it could not be alright.
True.
But this infection can't be very old, right? I mean, Malcolm, you said you were here last year?
He's just come back.
Just got back.
Oh.
Yeah, he was here at the beginning of winter last year, just as it was getting cold.
Yes.
Trees were otherwise uninfected, they were perfectly healthy, they were growing fine, and the plants underneath were growing fine also. So,
Right, so this is a new thing that's happened.
fairly new.
Yes.
For this amount of carnage, this is not good.
I'll say, anybody who is proficient in nature, go ahead and make me a nature check.
Fuck
No.
nature, let it burn.
that might be
Nature?
Yes, if you're proficient in it. Queglod's proficient in nature? What?
Yeah, she is.
Oh wow.
Wow,
Nice.
okay.
Fucking what?
Everyone.
Why is this news we're only just getting?
11.
11 and
18.
18.
Why?
Looking at the trees and how the passage of time has grown as you're going further up the trees, or further up the tree line, you get an estimate that it takes roughly a day from the disease to travel from one tree to the next 2 or 3 trees. The progression and therefore the evolution of what you've seen and the tree bark falling off, the fact that it's reached the edge of this forest here means that it would have reached the Enchanted Glade. Depending on where the epicenter of this is, if it's far away from here and it's really close to the Enchanted Glade, over half of the Enchanted Glade should have been infected by it. If that's where the epicenter of it was. But then again, it's got Dippy to protect it, provided Dippy's strong enough. Going the other way, if it was closer to where you currently stand, then it means that it came into effect about a week ago. Maybe more. A little bit more.
Oh my god, and it's done this much carnage in a week.
Yes, and looking at the life cycle of the trees will try to fight it. They will grow nodules on the roots in an attempt to fight the infection in some way, the fungal infection. And then as it travels up the tree begins to seep the sap for whatever effect that is. And then the bark sheds off, peeling away and falling away from the actual tree itself. As this happens, the tree then dies, all the leaves fall off and get blown away by the wind, and then the large spores begin to form at the base of the trees, which will then disperse more of the fungal infection, making it airborne.
Hey, right, this... Made it to the Enchanted Glade. It's definitely something we should
Okay.
inform Dippy of.
Yeah, we'll definitely need to ask Dippy. Speaking of which, 1 week ago you said was how recent it could have been.
How recent it could have been if the epicenter was roughly where you standed, where the dead trees are closest.
Yeah.
If it was further away than that and it's taken some time to travel, it could potentially be 2 to 3 weeks old.
Okay. But if it's only about 1 week,
Hang on.
timeline lines up.
How long into spring are we?
You are on...
Question.
World Calendar. Yar?
Is it just me, or do people hear snoring?
Everyone shush. I think it's Harlan.
Yeah, I think
Is
Harlan's
he
snoring.
asleep?
I think so.
Is that... Wait, hold on. Shh. Yeah, it is.
Wait, what's happening?
Harlan's
Harlan's
asleep.
Harlan's asleep and he's snoring.
I thought it was Sudz's dog.
Wait.
See, I clued into it. I thought, is this something I've got on in the background? And this is like,
Oh my God,
I saw
actually
them
was-
matching up when this thing was. That's cute. That's
We'll
adorable.
let him sleep. He's probably very exhausted from various things.
Shall
that are
we
going
move
on.
him to AFK?
No,
Yeah.
because if we move him,
No?
it will make a ding sound. If he's got his headset on, it will wake him up.
So just
Just
I'm
leave him
pretty
here.
I'm pretty sure it would be louder if he had his headset on.
I'm pretty sure we're noisier than a didding.
Probably, yeah.
The
But
thing is, we're probably noise that's easy to lock out. It's
Yeah.
human brain does that quite well.
yeah, so it's probably best we don't move him. Just let him sleep. Right. If he apologizes later, it's fine. We realized we had this moment. It's fine. In answer to your question,
And we could all move as well.
a week ago was the 3rd of Faldrid, which is the first month of spring.
Okay. Right. When would the griffins started laying their eggs?
Griffins would have started laying their eggs about then,
Right. And
near the beginning
when
of spring, end of winter.
when did the Prince of Blood mobilize?
He mobilized. Went there, you went down. That, you came back up. A day later, you teleport home. A 4-day time skip. 9 days you're in the ravines. That's 14 days. So 14 days ago from now was the 25th of Orspin, which is the last week of winter. And that would have been 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 days from when the griffins would have started laying their eggs a week ago. This would have roughly equated to 2 weeks ago.
That's concern.
So we can kind of work out then, depending on where the griffins have laid their eggs. Because if they've laid some in the trees and then the trees have died and there's no like egg remains around the trees, then the trees were dead before they were laying their eggs. Which means that this is older than a week. A weeks. So we can get at least a rough time span from that.
Quite possibly, yeah.
So my speculation is that this disease is an attempt to get into the enchanted glade.
That's a really valid point.
It might be the Prince's blood is doing.
Trying to weaken the glade.
I was thinking, because he definitely needs to get in there. Being even as strong as he is, he'd probably struggle to force it. There's something like this that can wipe out the forest. Seems like this sort of thing. Try, and it matches up more or less time.
If that's the case, we should really find a way to stop it then.
The only thing I can think of is starting to burn the diseased trees, but that much carnage is not going to do good for the ecosystem. But then...
Are we still
dies.
determined that we want to get this out?
I mean, out of character, I've kind of built Rook quite heavily into this. In character, yes, kind of, but I'm also concerned about other things.
In that case, then, I think we should focus on getting that as quickly as possible and go speak to Diff.
Okay.
That's going to be my suggestion.
Agreed. I agree there.
So let's just put this on hold, get the egg, and then we can focus on this.
As you...
Hold on. About how... Did we move at all?
You've been moving this entire time, yes. So you're about 2 hours away from where the nests were sighted.
Okay. In that case, I believe we should only take a few of us there. Not the loud people. To get the egg. Too many of us will get spotted easily, especially with there being like no good trees up there.
I know this is going to sound terrible, and I'm going to lose money, but I don't think we should take that many eggs. If the griffins are at risk at the moment of having to fight this, I don't think we should take that many.
Logistically, I'm not sure how many we can...
No, I think
Well, I'm
happy just to get one. Give them a fighting chance.
would like to take a look at the population of them and see how they're doing first. Because there might be a chance that even taking one could mess them up. Make them not be able to.
Is Pass Without Trace a thing that we have access to doing? Because
Vira has
those
access.
griffins very stealth. Felipe had absolutely no idea for it.
Yeah, I also have Pass Without a Trace.
Okay. And make sure we've... Keeping to a smaller group isn't a bad shout. Make sure we've got an eyes guy.
True. I'm going to make a really ballsy move. The ones that are staying behind, I'm taking my armor off, and I'm going to go armorless. So as to not raise a wing, but the eggs are big, so if we want to carry one, one of us needs to at least be able to carry it easily. Sasha won't take her armor off, and she's got good strength. So, yeah, I will take my armor off and I will go armorless to maintain stealth.
So to clarify, who's going in the group going towards the griffin eggs?
Let's see.
Everybody but Sasha.
The thing is, I want to go because I can help out, but I also don't want to go because my stealth is absolute trash.
Alright, I say.
I'll go because if we need careful maneuvering, I could potentially use my telekinesis to do it. And my stealth is
Elsyan, Rook, and Malcom are probably all.
My stealth's
Yeah,
not
that's
dreadful.
what I was gonna
I'm
suggest.
Fantastic at stealth in general. I do have Arcane Gate, which might be something that we can get some use out of, but only potentially quite situation.
So is this with 2 hours to go until you get to the griffin eggs, or are you moving to a certain degree closer to the eggs? And
I'd say let's get a little closer.
Yeah.
how much is a little?
I'm thinking maybe another half an hour closer.
Yeah, how far from their nests do they normally go to?
Good question. What do I know about that?
Griffins, like eagles, will travel up to a day's travel to find food and then bring it back. So by flight, that means they will travel up to about 60 miles from their nest to try and find food. And an hour and a half's journey in this terrain will probably be about 2.5, 3 miles, given you're climbing and in a difficult terrain.
In which case,
Keep that in mind. It will be roughly 2.5 miles away from with 1.5 hours of travel. Yeah, 1.5 hours of travel out.
Long way to carry the eggs, while also trying to avoid griffins that potentially are going to be pissed off.
So this is why I was thinking of coming with you, as I can teleport us out.
but if the plan is to teleport, it might be best. So,
If we're careful, they shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Especially with Pass Without a Trace.
Also, without a trace, if something comes for us, I could probably perform something to get them not to do that.
Yeah, I have nets as a failsafe.
I'll say the main thing that you're going to need to keep in mind: the female griffins are more like eagles, who I've looked up quite a bit into them, given the research for it. The females will stay on the eggs until they hatch, 24/7. The male will go and hunt.
So chances are, the male griffins will be off somewhere right now, potentially hunting. Most of them. Those that are still here are probably lazy shits. So that's really harsh to the griffins, but it's true. It's the mothers we've got to be careful of, as always. As always, be careful of the mothers. Elsyan's eyes just glaze over.
It's always the mothers, isn't it?
Do I know what if there is, and what the natural predator of griffins would be?
Anything bigger than them.
Bigger griffins.
Typically, bigger than a griffin, you'd either be looking at a rock.
A rook.
A rook, yeah, one of those two.
No, the rock.
Rocks are giant eagles.
Would dragons
really
eat them?
If one got close enough, yeah. But griffins typically tend to put their habitat and livelihood in a place where they're not going to be affected by them. The main problem with if you introduce a predator to the mix is that they will either fight with their lives or they will abandon the nest.
And if they abandon the nest, they're likely not to come back.
And the eggs will die because they'll get cold. The climate where they're in is different to their usual climate. Females have to stay on the eggs at all times, or the eggs won't hatch.
I presume there's a bit of leeway between.
There's a bit of
getting
leeway.
them off and us picking them up.
Yeah, they can get up and they can go back to the eggs within about, let's say, 2-3 minutes. That should be fine. Any more than that, and the eggs are going to start getting cold, and then there's just a chance they won't hatch. Any more than that, and they're not going to hatch straight up, because we're getting to colder climates. It's early spring, so it's going to be difficult.
So the one that attacked Felipe was probably
a male. Yeah, which means that at least one of the 2 males, because there's roughly 1 male griffin per 2 to 3 females, given that you saw 5 alcoves.
Okay, I have an idea to try and lure a female or multiple females off their nests.
I will also say, with the information that I've just given you, this does mean that the egg will have to be taken back and put in a warm location where it's not going to otherwise be damaged or anything. So if you end up traveling to Enchanted Glade straight after this, the egg is going to have a lower chance of hatching, because it needs to be kept warm. As fluffy as Rook is, Rook's only so fluffy.
I don't suppose anything like a heat stone.
Heat stone would work. They act as mini incubators. It would preserve it, but it wouldn't hatch it, I'll say.
Wouldn't my little fire lizard work?
Isn't he at home? Oh wait, no, he
No,
stays on you,
I
doesn't
always
he?
have him. I have
Yeah.
him and the
Oh yeah,
ice
he's
one
part
on
of your
me at all
cooking
times.
equipment that you acquired.
Yeah. I have him and the ice one on me at all times.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Your fire lizard could probably keep it warm.
Okay. I
completely forgot that you had your fire and ice geckos to cook and chill your food.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
I gave them to him. Like, what was it? It was part of early on when you were like level 7 and you.
It was
time skip.
It was during the it was before the cooking competition that I had with
Oh yeah, and you bought them in intention to use them, but then you ended up not.
We did use them. Yeah, we used them. It was part of the last trial.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, one of those would keep the egg warm, and that would keep it safe.
All right.
Okay.
Then-
Right. Well, that solves that problem then.
And I will reiterate, because it was previously mentioned, is that yes, Bern, you can draw up to 59 seconds of the teleportation circle and complete the 1 second at the end when you're ready.
Yeah. So I can keep a transportation circle ready to adamantly.
Right.
Okay. So by my count, probably there's a good chance that one of the males is decent distance away.
We might still have to deal with one of them.
And the one that is more local, I can vaguely detect.
I can also try and keep track of them if I get a little bit of time to attune to something. If we can wait a
How
little
long
bit.
is a little bit of time?
I just need to unattune to something and attune to something else.
I think Harlan might have woken up, guys.
How long does that take?
How long does that take, Chris?
What, sorry?
To unattune from something and attune to something else.
Half an hour. Short rest.
How
Half an
long
hour.
have we been walking?
You've been walking for about 6 hours now. So at this point, it's probably getting into the kind of mid-evening. Looking at about 5 p.m.-ish.
If we took a short rest, I could
Get dark around 7. You've got about an hour and a half's journey to the nest point. So taking a short rest will put you into the point where you'll hit nightfall when you get there.
That will be good because it'll be better to go at night.
Yeah, but both of the males will be there at night, won't they?
Which
Not
will
We don't
also,
necessarily.
have time to wait for
And-
nights.
but if they are there, it would also be better for my plan because they would have more of a reason to try and fight instead of trying to run.
We don't have time to wait for nights.
Oh, you're not. It will be you'll get there at night. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying.
Right,
You'll
fine.
get
Yeah.
there at night rather than waiting.
Yeah.
That's fine. So I've zoned out and I thought, oh wait, no, we can't wait for a day. No.
Well, we were discussing waiting for half an hour
Yeah.
to take a
Okay,
short rest.
half an hour's not going to be any different.
Yeah, because I would like to
Yeah.
attune to the Iron Stone.
That's I didn't.
Yes, I have an Iron Stone.
Yeah, you do. The one that you got right at the beginning. Remember the one you found in the secret spot in the spider cave?
I remember.
What did they do?
Hmm?
What do ironstones do?
They
They
have various
attune-
effects. The one that he has allows him to detect beasts in the nearby vicinity.
Fair enough.
Useful.
Convenient.
Mm.
I haven't had that before.
Because you haven't gone up against beasts, really.
True. No hunting rats in a basement for us. Oh no, we're better than the cliches.
Just wait till campaign 2.
It's
We
just
skipped
fighting
the rats
different-
and we went
it's
to the
just fighting
spiders.
different levels of rats in different basements.
Look,
Okay.
I have a soundtrack called Rat Battle. I'm not using it.
Hey,
We skipped
I'm
the
fine with
rats
the
and we went to the
concept.
spiders.
Okay.
I might use it this fight because it's my favourite battle music yet. Okay. So, spending half an hour, you sit down, you attune to the Ioun Stone, you take out
Over
the...
the horn of
Hmm?
Draconimon.
Yeah, the one that's really hard to say.
Yeah.
So you unattune
that
from
one.
that and you attune to the Ioun Stone. As you do, the small kind of orangish stone begins to float around your wrist, and then eventually it begins to swirl around your neck, giving off a slight glow, but nothing that it will be particularly noticeable.
Alright. And
What creature type do you attune it to? Does it say you select, or is it specifically these? I forget.
I'm going to look. I don't really have the description for it.
I thought you sold it. That's why I was slightly.
No, I never sold it. They wanted to sell it, but then I said I wanted it. So I got it.
Oh, look at these set of untouched metal braces. Wonder what those were. Wonder. The periapt of wound closure. That's where it came from, Rook. Came from the
Yep.
first dungeon the party ever went in.
Ow.
One of the first.
I
There
miss
you go.
having that thing on.
Bag of tricks.
I
galleon
Yep, I
appreciate
still
this
have
thing.
that. I still
Sure.
have the bag of tricks.
Chalk of many
Okay, so I
colours.
just woke up and an hour and a half has passed.
We heard you
Yep.
snoring. Don't worry.
Yep, we did.
Buck BT has happened. The body's dead. You know, the infected forest killed everybody.
Yep, I
Okay.
decided to
Yeah.
lick the sap.
We've actually decided to just say fuck Goladon, and when we meet the Prince of Blood, we join him.
Yep.
Okay, so the Ioun Stone works as follows. You may detect one creature of your choice from Beast, Monstrosity, Elemental, or Fey.
So I
You
can
will be able to
choose one.
detect the creature when it is within 30 feet of you, as well as, if you know what it is, it will tell you what it is. It will also inform you if the creature is awake and or alert.
Okay. Then I'm gonna choose Griffin, because Griffin's not a beast, it's a monstrosity.
Correct. So, you attune to the Ion Stone. You're an hour and a half away. How are you moving, and who's going with? And how far is the second party who's staying behind staying away?
The ones that are going are going.
Did we figure out exactly who party is?
I say it should be
I mean,
me,
if we're
Queglod,
gonna
and
teleport back, because our plan right now is to take the eggs, then do what?
believe we talked about going to the
No, it's going to the Enchanted Glade, but how are we gonna get there?
walking.
Originally, we were going to stay the night, weren't we? We were going to stay the night, then go for the Griffins in the morning, and then with the recuperated spell slot Malcom had, going to use the tree transportation into the Enchanted
Well,
Glade.
if that's the case, if we go at night, I can teleport us to Adamanthia. Then we can just go tomorrow straight to the Enchanted Glade.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Why it should be me, Queglod, and Rook, so that you can have a teleportation circle prepared if we're being chased back, and we can go through the teleportation circle then. And
Well, the thing is, I can use the actual teleport spell. Because if we're taking a rest, it shouldn't matter.
yeah, but the dimension gate would be better than the teleport, in my opinion.
The dimension? Yeah, what?
The gate that Queglod has. Whatever it's called.
Oh, Arcane Gate, yeah.
Arcane Gate, yeah.
That's probably more useful for helping sneak up on a Griffin there.
Sneak up or sneak
if we
out.
get within 500 feet of one, and you draw the female off even temporarily, I can make one gate right next to the nest and the other right next to us. Rook can literally just lean through and grab one.
Other people can go through it, right?
Yes, yeah, it's well, anything that's small enough to fit. I believe it's
Well, if that's the
10
case, if we
feet
have
in diameter.
one person taking the aggro, we could have Rook go through the gate and take an egg, get out, and then
I
meet
can-
up with the decoy and teleport back.
Would polymorph be helpful in this sort of situation?
Can't turn. I believe a rock is a monstrosity as well, so I don't think. Yeah, polymorph wouldn't be able to do that.
Who would be
But
the
I can
decoy
use major. I can have Featherwing use major image to make a rock.
I mean, it's not only rock, right? They're
No, it's
most
typically
natural-
anything
normal
that's larger and can
natural
fly.
predator, but
Yeah.
so a giant eagle.
A giant eagle would threaten, but they'd be able to take care of a giant eagle because they're stronger than them. But
Well,
giant eagles
that's,
would still
that's the
threaten.
idea. That we want them to
Yeah, we don't want
Yeah.
to scare
want
them.
them to
We
go
want
and-
to.
fight it.
Yeah.
It's like seagulls and puffins. Except in this case, the puffins are badass, wearing kind of headbands and they know taekwondo. But you know,
See
I
them.
mean, if it's something too strong and they abandon the nests, that's a real problem
Hmm.
because we can't take care of it.
Then I can use if actually yeah. Then can use yeah, I guess can
Well,
use
you can You can create a distraction from a distance,
Yeah.
and then tell Queglod Arcane Gates Rook. He takes the egg, leaves, and then you can transform yourself either into something small or something fast to get to us. And then we can all teleport out. Does that sound fine?
Sounds like a plan.
In a pinch, with Felipe back, following the short rest. Big Felipe is an option.
Do I know how fast
Is
a
regular
person can
Philly
be?
rest or long rest?
I can resummon him at the end of a short or long.
Oh, you can resummon him on a short rest.
Yeah, so I
Yeah, but he's
Well,
back
we can't
now.
take a short rest then.
He's back now. You've taken the short rest.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Do I know how
Well,
fast a
that
person
sounds
is?
like a plan.
From what I remember reading, or from what I got from stats for them, it was 30-foot movement speed.
You could also have
80-foot
the
fly
Lupe
speed.
create a distraction.
Yeah, they are fast flyers, but they can also run pretty quickly.
I couldn't hear how fast they were flying.
80-foot flight speed. 30-foot movement.
We could also have Big Felipe create a distraction.
Big Felipe is effectively a rock, though, and that's what you're trying to avoid.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Felipe is enough of a threat.
Yeah.
What about
What
like
happened?
a
Where am I?
young-
Who are you? What? Oh shit! Where am I?
You watch
What?
as Sasha sticks a finger up her left nostril and just blows, and you watch as this tiny puff of white spore just dissipates from out of her nose. You watch as she kind
God.
of shakes her head from her strange sleepy state.
Oh god.
Sasha, you
Oh,
okay?
Oh, I think I saw God, and they were angry. Oh god. Explosions everywhere. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Well, that makes sense for a Turan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I'm honestly fair. Sorry about that. Oh.
You seemed to black out for a while. There was light rumbling sounds coming from you.
Well, I'll be honest. With all the stress with Hurricane, I haven't actually been sleeping. More just dozing, and it's rather caught up with me. But I'm feeling better now. What's going on? Where are we? And what do I need to kill?
Nothing killing.
Nothing. You stay here.
Oh,
Answer the questions in order, you'll confuse her.
Okay. Where are we? We're up the mountain, going to get the griffins, and we're killing nothing.
Hope.
and you're staying behind with the group and basically doing nothing.
all right.
I don't know if
What?
there's anyone you can helpfully use sending. I mean, plan is to head back to Aleuir tonight, so.
What if we have Big Felipe and then I cast Reduce on it?
A small rock.
Yeah.
Roll me a nature check.
Woohoo!
Bern, you're the one who came up with the idea.
Fuck. Obviously, I tell everyone the. That's
A rock's a rock. If it's a baby rock, it's still very dangerous. It would probably
What
be a
about a
young or a
jetpack?
juvenile rock. Time of year, you'd have no idea whether that would line up. Dangerous scale, probably still dangerous.
What about a young white dragon?
Again, dangerous.
Thing?
Can you change into a giant eagle? Because I think we came to the conclusion that giant eagle was okay. They'd fight. the
Well, I
giant
think we
eagle.
were doing the illusion because putting him in danger.
I'm just trying to
Why?
find something fast enough.
Why does it need to be faster?
If it's something that I can turn into and be fast
I think
enough to stay away
He
from
wants
them.
to outrun
Oh,
them.
I
That's
see.
why.
Yeah.
From what you understand, there aren't many things faster than them. The only things that are typically big, and that's probably a problem.
Well, how long do we need to be there for?
Well, what we're thinking of doing is one guy makes a distraction, and then Queglod arcane gates Rook into the nest. He grabs an egg, goes back past. We meet up with the decoy, and we teleport out.
Why bother
So-
with the decoy? What do you want me to just use banishment?
We've got.
As long
Yeah,
as it's not going to
probably
remove them from the
material
nest for
thing.
too long.
They'd be gone for a minute.
Yeah, but isn't this their original plane? Where would they go?
This is their original plane. They disappear into a strange space for a minute, and then they come back, settle in the nest.
Okay.
Nothing would
1
change.
minute's within the. Yeah.
Convenience.
That's if
Yeah,
they
that's
fail the
prob-
save, though.
That's if they fail the save. But then, if provided not all of them do, you've got one nest with no keeper.
That's true. So we have Rook and Sasha go through into the nest. They do that, grab the eggs, and get out.
Did we agree that we're only grabbing one?
Well, either one or two. If
Yeah.
both of them are going through, why not just get two?
Why get two? I can only keep one as safe.
The other one can be preserved with the.
I've got a heat stone.
It will require a
Two
fourth. It will require a fourth level spell or a fifth level spell to keep it warm enough. Because fourth level
quite
spells for harsh winter to keep a living person alive. 5 is for a pseudo living creature alive.
Yeah, but Queglod's spells.
Yeah,
are-
if only there was someone in the party that had a full spell slot.
Yeah, I
And
know.
nothing
Wouldn't that
else.
be a shame?
Yeah, and plus we're teleporting out to Adamantia, the
Yeah.
place where, they can be kept.
Yeah, true. You've also got to remember that the nests are in 5 different plateaus, meaning you can't go onto one and have multiple nests there.
Yeah, but as long as there's one egg in the nest, it should be fine.
You've also then got to hope the griffin fails its save.
Well, if not, they just grab an egg and get out.
To be fair to them, how fucking charismatic can a griffin be?
It's not that bad, actually.
Yeah, I
Okay,
wouldn't say
it's
that was
still a
too bad.
beast. It may be an intelligent beast, but not much personality there.
Not necessarily about personality, it's your anchorage to the world.
If we're talking charisma here, no, that is the personality.
Would they still try and fight multiple giant eagles? Or just
They'd still try and fight multiple, yeah. They're CR2 creatures
Okay,
versus
so
giant
I
eagles,
can-
CR1, so
Yeah,
they're probably
but
going to get
would
crushed.
would we even need the distraction if we're going straight into the nest?
if
We've
they're
got
gonna
to
be
get
right
them
on
off.
I
top of
could-
it?
Yeah.
Huh?
get them off.
If they're gonna be right on top of it, we need something to get them off.
I
I could-
could.
Well, that's the
delu-
banish, isn't it?
A delusion might help.
Well, that's what the banishment is for, isn't it?
The banishment
Yeah,
would get
but
them off
do
of
we
the
want
nest.
to take Sasha there with her not wanting to take off her armor?
It's
Well,
arcane gate. They just walk through and walk back out.
At 600 feet, correct?
Yes,
500.
500.
500,
Yeah.
Okay.
They just need to walk through the portal and walk out.
You would know, from a general standpoint of game mechanics, which is something I don't talk about often, the perception of any given creature, it can see up to typically about 60 feet, unless there are other abilities in checks such as such as Devil Sight and other effects, or it's bright daylight and they can see further. They can hear typically up to 120 feet. Then anything beyond that becomes difficult and based on the terrain.
Can't you use
is
Philippe
currently-
vision to...
It is currently windy. This means sound will not travel as far. Meaning that, provided Sasha doesn't roll horribly, a 600
Why'd you
foot
say that?
distance is a piece of cake.
Although it's worth noting that at 600 feet, I don't have dark. Devil.
So true.
That's why I was asking, can you use Philippe vision to cast?
I'd allow that.
Yeah, so have Felipe within like 100 feet or 120 feet of the. How close was he to the nest when he got attacked?
About 250 feet. But it was daytime then.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't being particularly stealthy.
Yeah, so if you get it stealthy within 100 feet, you can use Arcane Gate then.
Yeah, I don't
Because
need
you'd be able to
within,
see.
Yeah, I don't need to be within about 500 feet then cast that.
Yeah,
The
but
rest of us
yeah,
wouldn't need to be much closer.
yeah.
If the only people
So
going
you just
up there
need
are through
to
the gate.
see the nest to be able to cast it there. So if you can cast it through Felipe vision, then the other guys can just walk through if the nest is present. Banish the thingy, take the eggs, and get out.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like it could work.
If there's trouble, the rest of us could obviously go through as well.
So
Hmm.
you're
How long does Arcane Gate last?
It's either a minute.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
That's plenty of time then.
Yeah,
Can
I
a
mean,
griffin
if I'm-
fit through Arcane Gate?
Yes. Anything can move through it, provided it can move through from the other side. I believe that's correct. Doesn't have to be, because otherwise Rook wouldn't be able to go through it because he's classed as a large creature.
Is he?
Mind.
They're 10 feet in diameter, so a large creature
Yeah,
should
so
be
a
able
large
to
creature
near
could
it.
go through. So a griffin could because it's a large creature.
If it's up against a wall, I can rotate it to make it impassable at certain times. But
I mean, you
only
can
once
always
you
close it
guys
right
are-
after. You can always
Well,
close
yeah,
it.
if you guys come through and we've got it, I'll just dispel it.
Yeah. You could hold your action as soon as we leave to just dispel.
Yeah.
So is that the plan then?
Yeah, that's
Sounds
the
good
best
to
I
me.
think we've got.
Okay. Shall I begin the process of going about what you will do?
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
That's it.
moving up as a party, given
I
the
will be giving
circumstances-
enhanced ability to Rook.
Okay, give
and
enhanced
Sasha.
ability to Rook and Sasha. The two of you will have advantage on your stealth checks. Rook, you are taking off your armor, so you will not have. You'll have advantage on this. Sasha, you will not have disadvantage. You will be a straight roll. Knowing that you're going into the situation, Malcom, you light up the pass without a trace, giving your entire party the +10 bubble. Proceed to move forward, taking your time over the next hour and a half, knowing that you can use pass without a trace more than once. Travel up for that hour, remaining stealthy, remaining quiet. Traveling on a slightly different route, the sun begins to dim, but you begin to see the trees where they have otherwise died. They are completely bare. There is nothing about in this situation. You can see the nodules are otherwise mostly deflated at this time. As you get a sense and you have a look, compared to the ones that you previously saw, these ones have obviously let off their spores, given it's a windy day. The direction of the wind is currently traveling towards the west, or the east, coming off from the winds of from the high mountains heading westward. Depending on how far the spores could go, it could travel a long way, and there could be plenty of trees that might get infected. You don't know. As you travel further up, the second casting of the Pass Without a Trace is cast. You move the extra half an hour up, and you're in position. You send Felipe up. Felipe is rolling a stealth check. Make the stealth check with advantage because Felipe is a blackbird, and thus, or a raven, and is thus hard to see in the dark.
I'd also like to keep him quite low if possible.
Okay, so
He
close.
needs to be high enough to have mobility, like visibility on cliffs, but stealth. Well,
Nicely done. Felipe moves up closer to the edge of the mountain, not being affected too much by the wind, manages to fly up and gets you good vision on one of the back walls of the alcove. You can see the sticks, the feathers, the bones jutting out of them, and you, as Felipe gets this look. Does Felipe wish to go any further closer, or is Felipe just going to stay there?
is he within?
Is he within?
He's within
vision
100.
distance?
He's within vision distance of this. I will also add, The one that you have marked and you currently have a sense on, it's a
Yeah.
long rest that it goes away, correct?
Uh,
Or is it when Felipe
it's either a
returns?
long rest or. Let me double check the.
Yeah, no, that would be
I
good.
don't think rest because we discussed. In combat, if it is slain by a creature, you gain advantage on all attack rolls against the killer.
Until what, sorry?
The next 24 hours.
Okay, so it's next 24 hours. So you can sense that the one that you have as your main target is on one of the alcoves higher up. They're typically preparing for an attack from above rather than below.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you have vision. You cast
We
Arcane
can
Gate
go
now.
to the lower.
You
thingies.
go to the lower nest. You want to cast Arcane
Okay.
Gate now, or
Who's in the list?
Hmm?
Can I see what's in the list?
from this direction? No, you're too close to the cliff. You can fly out a bit to get a better look, but I'll require you to make another stealth check.
Okay. Well. Yeah, okay, I'll try and send Felipe out to get a view on the nest.
Go ahead and make me another stealth check with advantage.
Oh,
Even with disadvantage, that
Nice.
would be amazing. Felipe flies up, slowly peeling away, pulling himself back, keeping to that 120-foot Devil's Sight range. As you catch the lip of it, you can see a griffin has its head curled down as it is otherwise curled up around the whatever it may be sat on, its head under its wings. From the look of what you can tell, it seems to be slightly raised off, suggesting it has at least an egg under there. There is one on this platform. There is nothing else.
Okay. How far
Just-
away are the other?
The other platforms, looking up, you can see to the upper right of this, about, I'd say 20 feet up, is another nest. You can see a head of the griffin. It seems to be awake. And then the next three above that, you can just about see the lips, but you can't see the actual griffins themselves. And they're about 10 feet apart each.
And I assume when we Arcane Gate and walk through, would we have a surprise?
The creature will be surprised as it is asleep, yes.
So we'd have a
would like to
surprise.
go- I would like to go with the two that are going through and go first so they can still have the +10.
Pass without trace?
Yep.
Okay. So, do you cast Arcane Gate now, Queglod?
Wait, what's happening? Hold on, what did you say?
I said
It's
I
pass
would
without
like to
trace.
go. I would
Take-
like to go with the two that are going through the gate. So, but go first so that when they come through, they can have the +10. So they don't alert any others.
Okay.
So you
is there
casting
anything?
Arcane?
Is there anything we need to prepare?
Besides for preparing the teleportation circle, I don't think so.
Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's. I think we're. good to go.
Yeah, just be ready to close the gate as soon as they walk through on Queglod.
Okay.
Okay.
Or like walk back.
So you pull your chalk out, you find a hard area, you begin to draw the circle out. As you continue to draw it out, the chalk kind of slightly clicks off of the stone as you're carving the runes into this area. The wind flowing past at a relatively hurried rate. As you each wait prepared, the casting of Arcane Gate is cast with teleportation circle almost finished. The Arcane Gate appears, the shimmering as Queglod peels her hands back, one to the right, one to the left, as a doorway opens, the shimmering doorway on the back wall, facing towards the griffin. In that immediate moment, Malcom steps through, alongside with Sasha and Rook. I would like all of you to make me stealth checks, please. Given that the sum of you are on the other side of the Arcane Gate, sound will still travel through.
Oh
You will-
man.
You will still
That's
have the
lucky.
+10. You have advantage, Rook, because you have enhanced ability. and Sasha, you do
Natural
too,
20.
meaning it is a single roll.
Crit.
I got 31.
Crit. Sorry.
Nice.
I was wrong.
19.
Yep.
23 plus the 10, 33, and then plus the +5 from 20.
36.
25.
Okay, the entire party.
3 plus 5 is 8, so that's 38.
You monster.
The entire
Think about
party.
that.
It's a natural 20.
The entire party is silent as this motionless effects happen. Malcom steps through, the foot slightly padding on the stone way. You look down and immediately see a series of bones on the floor. Ones that you recognize as horse bones. Presumably got a source of horses or other quadrupedal animals in this area. And as you kind of look down, you see this. You make a quick gesture to the others, and the two of you avoid the bones, not stepping on them. As Sasha, you move into place, remaining silent. You cast Banishment. On the one griffin that you see, you cast Banishment. What is your DC? Probably not lower than 6. As
18.
it fails the save as the griffin disappears. The light words being said for the verbal component for Banishment. You hear the flapping of wings above, but not disturbed flapping. They haven't been immediately alerted to your presence. As Rook, you rush over stealthily, you look inside the nest. Go ahead and roll me a d6.
How many eggs are there?
Nope.
Oh, let it fall and
yeah,
then roll.
yeah, I'll select it. Yeah, there. 4.
Looking in, there are 2 eggs currently present.
Right. I am taking. Do they look healthy?
Roll me a nature check with disadvantage as you are doing this in a hurry.
Okay. So that's 13.
13. Looking at the eggs, they're eggs. You're a mammal. You have no idea whether these are healthy eggs.
Okay.
You'd have to crack them
Alright.
open and find out with the omelette. But...
Since,
Yeah, that's
since
not
we're
gonna
on a time crunch,
I'm gonna grab
Sasha
one.
goes over and grabs another.
Goes over and grabs one of the eggs.
Yep.
Okay. Each of you grab 1 egg. You move over, you scoop it up, and you move back through. Stealthily again, roll me stealth. This time, Rook, you are a single roll rather than advantage, as you would have disadvantage from carrying the egg. Sasha, yours is a flat roll regardless. And Malcom, go ahead and roll yours as well.
17 plus 10 plus
18.
Okay, with your plus 10s,
19,
you stealthily
29.
move through, travelling back through the arcane gate. Seamless. As you travel back through the arcane gate, Queglod quickly snaps her fingers. The gates close. You travel out, the circle is complete, and in the distance you hear the as the griffin reappears and is very confused. In that moment you hear the uproar of griffins in that moment as they begin to, not panic, but one of them has been alerted to the fact that it has been elsewhere, as it spent a minute in some other plane of existence.
Oh, fun. Which one?
I'm going to roll a D100 to find out. Typically, it would go to a demi-plane, but for the sake of this, 41.
It's an ascended griffin.
41.
It's a godly griffin now.
I think, just off the top of my head, it's the plane. So, it's a very wet griffin.
I was hoping
Plane
it
of
would
what?
kind of sky or
Okay.
something, and it would have a fun time.
Barrenlor is supposed to send them to a harmless demi-plane.
Yeah, I know, it's unharmed. Correction.
Wet.
That is the plane of air. My apologies.
Oh, great.
Oh,
So it had a fun all
It
time.
ended
there.
up on another mountain with the wind flowing between its feathers as it was very confused as it lost its nest, its flock, and its mate, and then all of a sudden it poofed back with no eggs but a nest and a mate. They immediately reply with a uproar of cries as the teleportation circle whoosh comes into effect, and each of you pop, pop, pop reappear in Abod's tower. At 7:30 p.m. in the evening, Abod is otherwise beginning to write the last little bits of his of what he does during the day. And in this moment, you all appear through, moving through, carrying 2 large eggs, one with a fiery red gecko attached, and the other one with 2 large heat stones on either side of it. As
Sup?
you As you move through, Abod kind of turns and goes, I take it was successful.
Yes.
Flawless.
I don't think we've
turn and
done
give a thumbs
anything
up and
more
walk away.
successful in our lives.
No.
That
Actually went
genuinely
well.
is, I think,
Guys,
the best success we've had this entire campaign.
Yeah, I think that's the most
Literally the
flawless
first
thing that's
time-
happened.
This is
A
the
pla-
first
guys?
time a plan of ours has actually functioned without screwing up horribly.
Okay.
And the hilarious thing is, it involved Stealth and Sasha.
Sam's getting cut off all the time.
No, I
Sorry.
hate you. I imagine you guys are just doing this to Elsyan anyway. Just he pipes up and then someone else chuck. Oh, so it's nothing
Flawless.
special.
Sorry, what were you trying to say, Sam?
Don't worry. It's fine. It's fine.
No, come on, Sam.
Sorry, sudden cough. Coronavirus. No. As you joke, it says anyway. We do the thing, we do it right, and it just works. That's what we've been missing. We plan a thing and we don't do it right. That's what the problem. Anyway, that was all I was going to say.
Yeah,
It
very
wasn't
well
right.
executed, very well. All right.
We've unlocked the Todd Howard magic. Nothing can stop us now.
Oh my god.
All right. So, you return to the tower. As each of you do what you need to do, you take the eggs to the Church of Steel. You hand them off, and they take them. They will raise them and do what is necessary. Rook, they will charge you later for all the food they're going to need to feed your griffin. And you will get the pick of 2 of which one you want when we get there. So
Excellent.
that'll be up to you. As you take the eggs there, traveling through the city, some people look at you. They're like, "Oh, there's the Dawn Seekers. Why are they carrying eggs the size of Queglod?"
Ask no questions, we'll tell you no lies.
And some of them are very confused. As you travel through, some drunk individuals are moving along the street. They kind of cheer in your name as they move past, and you head over to the Church of Steel. You hand them off, head back home. You pat yourselves on the back. You have a round of drinks. You have a meal prepared for you
We
by
should
Angus.
tell the Church of Steel about the infection.
Okay.
We don't have time for this.
I don't go with them. I go to the Dryad immediately.
Okay. You stay at home. You inform the Dryad. While you're there, Bern, you inform the Church of Steel of the infection. Informing the Dryad, your Dryad is concerned. An infection of that scale is very bad, depending on how much affected it is. But she will keep in contact with those that she knows, and she will do her best to prevent the Wandering Forest from actually getting infected, as the Wandering Forest is the main source of lumber for Adamanthia, as well as doing her best to make sure that the plants nearby aren't going to get infected also.
Good.
Given that knowledge, the fact that you pass this on, you give it to the various individuals. You head to sleep, and you rise the next day feeling wonderful. You've completed an objective, you did it flawlessly, got 2 eggs, which is good. They give you 300 gold back, Rook, because obviously one of them is going to be yours. So you get 300 gold for that egg. And, yeah. Oh no, 400 gold, my apologies. Not 300.
Yeah.
As you wake up the next day, you're prepared, you've got your next step ahead of you. Where are you headed again? The Enchanted Glade.
Yes.
Using transport via plants.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember it was right before we got to the mountain going towards the Dragon Sanctuaries where I managed to get a good decent sized tree.
Yeah. But you've also got all the trees at the beginning of it as well, so where would you like to be? The one just before the Dragon Sanctuary, or the ones closer to the edge where you just were?
I feel like going closer to the Dragon Sanctuary would be better. I feel like that's where Dippy would most likely be close to.
Okay. So the next day, you head out, you place your hand on the tree once again, you watch as it splits, tearing itself open. As you travel in past the tree, you take your steps out onto the other side. The rest of you follow. Bless you. As
Yeah.
you,
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, we just let him go alone.
yeah, as each of you steps out onto the other side, you are met with an unfamiliar sight. You immediately walk through, and as you turn, you see trees. Dark red leaves dripping with a thin sap. The bark splitting and tearing. Sap seeping down each of them. Trees in all directions dying.
I don't think Dippy's done a good job.
As you stand there, you see what look to be bodies as you look around. You see fairy dragons, dead, dying with what looks to be strange things that have happened to them. Tearings on their wings, their back, and their bodies. Fairy dragons that naturally lived in Enchanted Glade, and the Enchanted Glade itself, are otherwise dying or dead.
I immediately call for Dippy.
You shout out to Dippy, your words echoing. You wait for 5, 10, 20 minutes, half an hour. There is no call. There is no answer.
Okay, we need to get Golodon.
Malcom is concerned, and if this has happened to the Enchanted Glade, he would like to go and check the Dragon Sanctuary quickly.
Okay. As you rush back to the Dragon Sanctuary, you pass through the gates, you pass along the channel, about an hour or so's travel. As you make it there, you see the dragons are all fine. The leaf, the trees, the grass are all fine. But you see, as you approach, you are met by Gravelsnout. As he kind of looks down at you, Elsyan knowing to be a little bit more careful going through the archway this time round. You travel through and you see Gravelsnout as he kind of lowers his head and looks down. Rook, this is the first time you've seen a ancient stone dragon. It kind of lowers its head and looks down at you all. Malcom, you've returned so soon. What's the problem?
The forest, it's infected. The glade, the fairy dragons, they're dead.
He looks at you with kind of squinted eyes, and you watch as he immediately looks over to one such dragon. You watch as the adult iron dragon immediately begins flapping his wings and flying off in that general direction. As you see this, the rest of you watch as bounding up, tiny wings flapping as best it can, a very tubby crystal dragon headbutts Malcom as it rushes up to him and piles on top of him.
Yes, little one, kill!
Sasha. Elsyan just slaps Sasha around the back there. Not now.
You watch as in that moment another dragon, what looks to be a adult silver dragon, kind of flies up and stops, and you see he's holding what looks to be a book of some kind, which seems to be a book on shapes. As your baby dragon is learning shapes now.
That is fucking adorable.
Agreed.
As the adult silver dragon moves over, it kind of bends its head down and goes, "My apologies. Come on. Can't get out of lessons that easily just because your dad's here." And you watch as it opens its mouth and kind of lightly picks up your dragon as it begins to like squirm its legs as it's being raised. The fat belly kind of rolls a bit as it's lifted up and taken away down the central hole leading down into one of the other levels.
Ah, yes. That would be my adorable rowdy son.
We're up here still.
He reminds me of Chunk.
It does to some degree.
Hopefully not as disgusting as Chunk.
No, it's baby fat still.
Wonderful.
As you kind of stand there for a moment, Gravelsnout kind of looks back. Said it was infected, like destroyed.
I don't know how much is infected, but we saw the same infection on the mountain.
You call for Dippy.
Yes, we got no answer. That's why I came here.
This is bad. You warned us of what might be coming, and I told Dippy. If Dippy's gone, then threat may have already arrived. Sent several drakes along with an adult dragon to take care of it, but you watch as he turns rather frustrated and kind of goes off to just begins pacing. What would you like to do?
If the threat did come here, there's only one other place it'll be going now. We can only try and stop it at its next location before it succeeds in what they want to do.
Girl stops and looks at you. Kill whatever this thing is. You do what you need to do. I'll make sure what I've done, and I'll keep this place safe. I'll inform your father, see if there are any druids that might be willing to attend from the barren lands, but this is what we have to deal with. We'll deal with it ourselves, the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
Orem here. Did he stay here in the end?
Orem stayed here as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can you keep in contact via Orem?
Orem can't speak. Orem can make bestial grunts in Draconic, but that's about it.
Oh, I thought they had like some telepathic thing.
No, only to the dragon. But unfortunately, the baby dragon's learning shapes.
How is everything? Circle! Aww.
Everyone, mortal danger. We need to make sure we have attack. Whatever's going to be attacked, and suddenly we need to circle. Aww. everyone just sort of melts. Just, so cute.
Even the big bad just sits there. Aww.
Even the big bad's like, I'm just going to kill you, but it's with a heavy heart now. As a giant hammer comes in and squashes us all. I don't know why. I haven't really fought anyone with a big hammer, but
So,
Chris,
Alright, we should
what
go.
were we going to say, Queglod?
We should go.
I said don't give Chris ideas.
Yeah, it's true.
no, we all know that Chris has probably had the idea for something with a big hammer. Probably a hammer-based machine. That is just there, and what it crushes isn't our HP, but our hopes and dreams.
Anyway.
Chris is figuring out how to stat that now.
No, I don't need to, it's fine. It's a penitence engine.
It's already
over
done.
again.
He's already there.
It's just the stat for a penitence
Yeah, fair.
Fair enough. Alright, so, what was
Fine.
your next move?
We should
Golodon,
go
is it?
now.
Fair.
Yes.
Yeah, let's keep moving.
Bern, in this moment of action, as your party kind of turns to you, you place your hand in the air, and you begin to kind of draw the seals as the seals for a teleportation circle begin to form before you watch as bits are added to them. The seal begins to grow and expand at a much rapider rate as an action. You all clasp your hands together as he draws it, and you feel yourself pulled very violently through what feels to be some form of portal or force. I would like you to roll me a D100 and tell me your destination.
Okay.
D100 is just below where your dice are.
Yeah, I know. So, are we going straight to Golodon, or should we go to where my thingy is?
How
I
long
think
of
we
a
could-
delay would that be?
2 days.
I don't want to risk it really, but
No,
I think we
if it's
should
going to be
just-
if it's going to be a matter of days, then
Yeah. We try and go straight there if possible, but
it's risky, but I'll have to give it a go.
Okay. Roll me a D100 for going to Golodon.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Everyone, clench your butt cheeks.
as we end up separated.
37.
I don't think 37's one of the good ones.
No,
I think it's not a dreadful one.
Well, it depends, because Bern's never been there. So right now he is basing it off of description.
Get your shit together, man.
Okay.
Wasn't there a
see-
thing where those of us who have been there can?
Yes, you will be able
Assist
to
it,
influence
right?
it. So go ahead, and I will say, who would like to assist us?
Well, we've established from my story that I've been through
You and Queglod
and
have been
half
there.
Gollum.
You and Queglod have been through that. So has
Yeah.
Behold.
Well,
Elsyan
that's a hell of a lot
hasn't.
of use to us right now.
But Elsyan hasn't. So
Yes.
Well, I mean, technically, Queglod has Behold Soul, so maybe that'll give her a boost.
Again,
so,
a disturbing situation. That
with the,
that's
with the assistance of one of you who has already been, go ahead and roll me the D100, excluding Behold.
Queglod,
Doesn't matter who.
we trust
it's
Queglod.
your choice.
You can do it.
Okay, you just.
You can go.
I kind of knew you'd say that. Oh no, that's so much worse.
Oh my god.
As you-
Magnus, my old friend.
As you begin to kind of picture Golodon, the images in your head are that of a dwarven city built out of stone and red brass. The architecture there is different. It's unique. It's got a large forge. It is somewhere that you want to be. You want it, and as Bern, you try and focus. You draw the image in your mind, and you focus, and as you do, you picture the image. And let's see.
We better not fucking end up in Crag Anvil again.
End up in Tower Keem. Like, what?
Well, we're here now. Might as well look there for a shard.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
first
We
off,
end up in the Elven
as
Kingdom.
this is a mishap, you
Yeah.
feel a surge of energy shoot through you as all of you take 19 points of force damage.
Ooh, I didn't clench properly.
That would have taken out Fane. That would have been fun.
Ooh, my butt.
So you each take 19 points of damage. So you just take any damage.
Guys, guess what my health is at now?
69.
69.
Nice.
Hey.
As you now, I need to roll to see where you end up. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh god, this is when we end up just in a secret fixed teleport circle underneath the sea or something.
No, you don't. You can't end up in a fixed teleportation circle. You'll end up somewhere randomly determined by the DM.
In the middle of the sea, then.
No. This is actually
Helpful.
very interesting.
Oh.
Oh lord.
The Prince of Blood's
Okay.
house.
Yeah.
As you draw the symbol, you focus, and you hear the flapping of wings behind you. As you turn around, you are 5 feet from where you were standing. As you rolled exactly the dice you needed to be at your current location, roughly.
Okay, I've got a question. Why are we 5 feet away from where we were? And secondly, why are we still here?
Good question, and I don't think Sasha's description helped.
That was a pretty good roll.
I'm
Golodon's
gonna
a
start
shithole.
writing down the teleportation circle
Actually,
to the
my
fucking head.
my apologies. The roll which you got, you're on the far side of the Dragon Sanctuary. You're not 5 feet where you were, because you were at the entrance. But still.
Tough. We're
Right,
here.
that's fine.
We're 5 feet
Start
away.
writing down the
joke has been
teleportation
made.
circle to the fucking headquarters.
Okay. In that moment of didn't work. Well, at least you didn't get anywhere bad. You draw on the floor and proceed to draw the teleportation circle. Disappear, and you end up traveling to the headquarters for the Sanguine Sun. As you arrive the Sanguine Sun, you can see the individual waiting there for you. As he kind of sits, he turns and looks at you. He turns to you and goes, "Welcome. Please go on up ahead. I believe all of you have already all of you have already visited. And he kind of he pulls out a ring of keys, opens the door, and opens it up. Head up into the main headquarters, the main library there. Everybody looks at you, but everybody ignores you now, as all of you have been stamped with the seal of Sanguine Sun somewhere on your body.
Tramp stamp, just saying.
Yep. So,
I hate you.
What are you going to do here, Bern?
I would like to take us to... Where is there like a teleportation room between...
The person in charge of the teleportation is the... do you still have your old map?
Oh, yes.
You're going to need to head up to the central magic chambers and then head to the teleportation room.
Let me see.
So, as you head up, as you head past through the alchemical room, various individuals are working on experiments and other bits. You travel through as you head up the spiraling stairs. You reach the first room. You see some people currently there reading and learning various arcane bits and pieces. And you see each of the doors on the right and left is otherwise locked. You need to get to the furthest one from where you currently stand, I believe. Yeah. As you... Sorry?
Yeah, I said okay.
As you travel through, you see the... the dimension room. As you travel round, you travel through the spell chamber, seeing the various individuals there, otherwise working on spells, or travelling to the dimension chamber. You see inside of there an old humanoid individual, vampiric in nature, currently standing there watching as other individuals are beginning to draw circles and begin practicing the art of drawing teleportation circle. He looks up and goes, "Can I help you?"
We need to get to the Eastern teleportation headquarters.
On what authority?
Prince of Blood duty.
He
I take out the did I get like a Vanguard thingy or?
Take out the small token mark as he goes, "My apologies. Heading to the eastern one. Do you mean the one? Do you want northeast or east?"
Northeast, next to Goladon.
Northeast it is. He kind of rifles through a few sheets and begins to, and then proceeds to draw a teleportation circle on the ground. When you get there, feel free to study the circle before moving on.
Alright.
He draws it. Each of you are teleported as you land in another teleportation chamber, similar to the one you've been in. You see this one is unguarded. As you kind of look around, you travel forward through the central doors into another open chamber. This one is smaller. You see this one is a series of tables, chairs, various individuals currently sat around eating and drinking, and you see what look to be bits of creatures hanging from hooks. This is a hunting lodge, from what you can tell. As you travel through with your hurried pace with the intent to get to Goladon, you travel up the staircase, travelling out of the area, completely bypassing everybody who would otherwise be there. Someone tries to stop you, but holding up your seal, you travel quickly. You make your way up to the surface. You exit into a small hut, where there is currently an orc standing there, currently skinning a rabbit. As he kind of just turns and looks at you and just wavers you away, opens the door and lets you out. You are immediately abandoned into the middle of nowhere. There is a series of rolling hills and a couple trees in the area, but that's about it. You know that you've roughly got a day and a half's travel to Goladon, going northwest from here. Do you travel, or is there anything else you wish to try to move faster?
Let me just double
I don't think anyone has any other ways to make us faster.
At our current party size, is Felipe able to carry it?
Felipe can carry Rook, Sasha, and Elsyan on back. We'll have to carry. Malcolm and you, or Malcolm and Bern in each claw, and then you could probably ride on the head of them. So you currently can. However, Arachne would be difficult to carry. Arachne can otherwise hang on, but might be difficult unless you polymorph or shrink Arachne.
I can
reduce her.
I can cast 5th level conjure animals and
that could be solved with a 2nd level spell reduce. Don't think of it. Just reducing it will be fine, right?
Reducing would be fine, yeah. Does
Then
it last
I'll
an
reduce
hour?
it. I think so. Wait, let me check actually.
The potion
It
lasts an hour.
yeah, the potion lasts an hour as well.
I'm pretty sure enlarge reduce only lasts a minute.
Yeah, up to a minute.
and what I was suggesting can last up to an hour, and I can cast 2 of them.
Is fly 10 minutes?
Flies 10
Or is
minutes.
it an hour?
10 minutes.
Fly is
Flies 10 minutes.
I would like to try
How
and cut
long
out
can
as
we
much of
have
this turn.
Philippe up?
An hour.
An hour.
I can summon myself a Pegasus if need be.
You what?
Got a 7th level spell slot, dude.
Yeah,
Pegasus.
Conjure Celestial. What is Felipe's fly speed?
Big Felipe, I think it's 100 feet.
Okay.
So it should be able to significantly
Yeah.
cut some time for this journey.
and then I can use conjure animals from there.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, how long is travel going to be?
The travel is 2 days, so traveling by flight will be basically 4 to 5 times your speed because you won't need to worry about terrain. So you'll be able to make about an hour's worth of travel, 5 hours worth of travel in about an hour, which is about a quarter of your journey.
Okay.
Plus,
That's a good start.
Depending on what's summoned from there, you can then travel faster as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be possible, but I like to because I have no desire to spend any long.
Yeah. And now it's the matter of what are you going to do to get Arachne onto the back of Felipe?
Polymorph her into smaller spider.
Do we have it? I guess it probably isn't the best use of it. I was going to say, do we have a potion for?
No.
No.
Okay.
As you kind of prepare yourself, summoning Big Felipe, you immediately take off, traveling quickly away from the hut, traveling in the direction of Gorodok. With the high flight and the speed of what you're traveling, you make the next hour of travel easily. You travel quickly and not subtly, but enough that with a big bird flying through the sky, a lot of any would-be predators are otherwise keeping their distance.
Curiosity, not to cut you up. Could you give Felipe a potion of growth?
Technically, but gargantuan is gargantuan, but it doesn't do the size justice because technically Tarasques are like 100 something feet long, and they're only a 4x4 tile. So
Yes.
you could, yes, and it would make Felipe bigger and
Faster?
no,
Oh,
no speed unfortunately doesn't come into that.
Able to carry more people, yes.
able to carry more.
Be able to carry more, so you become the cat of the bird bus effectively.
Okay. I mean,
Everyone aboard the bird bus!
I could possibly give a potion of growth if Malcolm wants to save his spell slot.
I don't mind using.
Okay then. Alright,
My spell
we'll just
slots.
carry on then using the spell slot.
After the polymorph, you travel quickly, soaring through the sky. The hour, with a little bit of time left, you land onto the ground. As immediately you will jump off, Felipe turns back into Little Bird and goes to rest inside your hood. As you move up, you cast in the 5th level conjure animals.
Yes, and I'm summoning 4 giant eagles.
Okay. Summoning the 4 giant eagles, country animals is what, an hour?
Yes, it is.
As you kind of spread your hands out, the separating 4 feathers from your palm, each of them turns into a large giant eagle as they begin to roar. Squawk. As each of you jump onto the back or are carried by, you make your way traveling further. Without the polymorph, Arachne has to travel on her own eagle, but otherwise I believe it works out. As the giant eagles carry you, or you are on the back of, as you fly over, getting a further distance. What is the speed of a giant eagle?
80.
80 feet. Traveling at this speed and traveling with the eagles, you make the next hour of travel, again, meaningless. The next 4 hours of travel, you have traveled roughly a day's worth of travel in the time it would have taken you to do in the space of 2 hours. You have traveled quickly. You wish to do this twice more to finish the
Yeah,
journey?
I can do it one more time.
You do it one more time?
Yeah, I can do
1 second, guys.
conjure animals at 5th level one more time.
Okay. Doing conjure animals at 5th level one more time as you land, get on, or remount and head out. Travel quickly. Faster, or at a good speed, making it towards Golodon as you make your way there. As you land the final time and you rush the rest of the way there, you reach the outside of Golodon. You see a simple city carved out of stone. The buildings in Golodon. Let's change the music up. It's not this true. Let's go with. I don't remember what this one is. Sure. Hang on. Alright. As you make your way into or towards the city of Golodon, the architecture of itself is a large circular city. The buildings itself are seemingly made of a stone and iron wood combination with brass architecture mixed in alongside it. The roofs themselves are made from the heavy wood. The main supports in the building's framework is the heavy stone, with embellishments and trims to each of the buildings being in brass, giving it a very unique but very beautiful feel to the city. The design of the city itself is similar to that of a Greek-Roman architecture, with a little bit of a mix of each with columns, statues, and other very vanity-filled objects. The city itself is large and circular, with several buildings in it which stick out above the rest. One such building is at the center of town, a large towering what looks to be furnace, tubes running off of it and pillars of smoke rising up. The large outside wall is otherwise carved out of stone with a little bit of brass embellishments in place of the gates to make it look more beautiful from the outside. The heavy ironwood doors and palisade in place to protect said gates and door. You see the individuals as you see elves and dwarves otherwise atop the door and the archway. As you've landed and otherwise walked the rest of the way here, you see a line of carts outside the main gate. As you approach, what do you do?
Is there anything we need to do to do we need to hail the guards or?
Well, right now there is a small train of caravans which seem to be trying to make their way into Golodon, presumably to trade.
Follow the men, see if anyone stops us. If they don't stop us, then great. If they do stop us, then we.
Go back to line.
You join the queue. As you do, one such guard hails you over and joins you onto a small group of travellers who are otherwise waiting beside one of the carts. As they pull you over, the dwarven guard kind of jogs up to you and goes, "Alright, so you're heading in? Are you with any other caravans?"
Afraid not.
Alright, are you looking to stay for a while, do some trade, business, or are you looking to venture out elsewhere, just travelling?
Just travelling, mostly adventure. A little bit of personal time in the city. Been on the road a bit, but other than that, mostly just adventuring.
Alright, seems good. He kind of looks around all of you. seeing
I
if
hate
any-
how I've instantly gone into my I'm talking to other dwarfs voice where I instantly copy the damn
Yep.
voice.
Okay.
Sasha Smashfist, there we go. That's
Yep.
better.
As he looks across all of you, kind of looking about your numbers, and goes, "Alright, I got your faces. Yeah, if you want to head in, no causing any trouble. Adventurers who have made their way in within the first 7 days, you cause yourself trouble, you get locked up. Doesn't matter who you are or what you did. So no causing any
Right.
trouble."
Right, so everyone, best behavior.
He gestures you all in. The
What
other
am I
group of
ever-
The other group of travellers head in with the car as you're then led in after them. As you head into the city, it is lightly warmer here. Despite it being a colder climate outside, the wind and it being early spring, with the early signs of the snow that was around here melting, it is warm on the inside of the city. The smokes are rising, the smell of ash and the working of furnaces fills the air, along with a slight tinge of what smells to be iron powder, a little bit of a little hint of phosphorus and sulfur. You,
Now that's how a proper dwarven city smells.
as you head in,
Disgusting.
you're let in as a few, as you see a few elves kind of standing around in guard uniform, just watching you as they enter. Golodon itself, as you remember, is a 50-50 dwarf and elven society.
Ha!
Elsyan is amazed that such a place can exist. That shit just isn't completely foreign to infighting.
As you head into the city, heading in through the eastern entrance, you can see around you there is a central path that leads up and then begins to split off like the opening of a river onto the ocean. As you kind of look around, you can see that the traders seem to know where they go. They travel forward and they're otherwise veering off to the left. I just got that correct. Yes. Where do you what would you like to do?
What time of day is it at this point?
At this point, it's just getting late, so you're looking at about 6 p.m. Oh, maybe about 4, 5, half 5-ish.
Guess find somewhere to stay and
Yeah, let's
Maybe
find somewhere to
after-
stay and
after
try and get
the
up at the
kickoff.
crack of dawn tomorrow.
Do you guys mind if I take a look around and see if I can find anything druidic, since there's supposed to be druids in the forest? They might have left a message here.
That's worth investigating. You can do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, I will say, seeing as the party is splitting up, who wants to go on the team for finding a tavern/inn?
I think this is where my expertise comes in.
Elsyan will also be going the moment he hears Sasha is going.
So Sasha, Elsyan, and
Make sure I don't pick somewhere that's crap, Sasha.
I'll
I'm
go
gonna
as well.
go.
Oh no, yeah, Rook.
Rook will
I
go.
want to ask the barkeep where the flames are.
And so then we'll have Queglod, Malcom, and Bern going to find druids. I would like each of your group to roll me an investigation check. One of you may roll this.
Elsyan for us?
Or
Well,
Yeah, he's invest.
I'm the investigative one. I will find
actually,
us.
I'll change the roll on this. I would like any of you to roll me an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma check
Ooh.
out of your
Straight.
groups, and
Just
tell
a
me which
straight-
one you're rolling out of your different groups. Yes.
Chris, I am obviously rolling charisma. I mean, that's definitely intelligence.
Charisma? Oh,
Sudz isn't
man.
discussing it.
19.
So, from your groups, 19 as you begin to look around the city, using your intelligence to kind of understand how the street system works, you pinpoint some rough locations where taverns would be. We'll go ahead and roll me a d4, and I'll tell you which one you find. Malcolm, what was your total? That was a 3 plus 6, so 9.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
using
4.
wisdom, I assume.
Yeah.
Looking around, using your wisdom and the general street sense of what you would be able to pick up, using your kind of survivalish nature, you gather they're probably further to the northwest. As you head that direction, there is a point where you are stopped, where you see some, as you're kind of heading your way to there, you see a series of arches surrounding a large grove of ironwood trees. The trees themselves are beautiful, similar to oak in design. They are a slightly deeper shade of wood, with what looks to be streams and almost veins of metal of iron going through them. You see the leaves on them are a beautiful rustic orange, and the ground around them is a similar orange colour. As you kind of approach, the guards stop you and they question you about what you're doing. Then there's one of the elves and the dwarves approached you. Excuse me, are you planning to head towards the gardens?
Yes.
That was the
I'm
hope.
May I
looking
ask
for
the
other
purpose
druids.
of your visit?
I'm looking for other druids.
Looks at you and goes, very well. Anybody in particular that you know of, or just a general?
Just a general druid.
He nods and says, "If fuck we do, as usual." So, what
I
is
need a
the
tavern. I
what
go
is
to
the
sleep.
purpose of wanting to speak to a druid?
I'm trying to remember. Can you roll a history check for me, Chris, for the name of the place where we believe the husk is at?
I got Dwarf Fortress. Dwarf Druid Fortress. That's as much as I got.
It was the Rust Bastion.
Rust Bastion.
I will double check, but I don't want to. I just want to up. Blood's document. Bastion of Rust, yes.
We are looking for we're looking to go to the Bastion of Rust. Something bad might happen there.
Okay. As you bring it up, the individual kind of looks at you and goes, very well, I'll have a druid come to you. Kind of looks at you cautious before heading off. The dwarf remains with you, kind of rocks back and forth on his feet, kind of just waiting. As the druid comes to you, you see a dwarvish individual wearing what looks to be mostly bare-chested, bar a set of kind of reddish leaves that form a mantle around his shoulders. Long beard that runs down underneath the mantle and currently covers most of his chest and belly, as he is wearing what looks to be just leather trousers, and kind of goes, "Hey, yes, apparently you're looking for a druid individual to talk about the Bastion of Rust.
Yes.
What are you looking to know?"
Looking to know where it is.
It's in the middle of the Rust Forest. It's a dangerous place, though. The place itself is otherwise crawling with various creatures, and was an old fortress, but it now was under our quarantine by the druids that lived there.
I see.
The place has since gone dark. If you are planning to head there, be very careful. They won't stop you so long as you're not trying to do any illegal logging.
No, we believe a dangerous individual is going there for a body that has been sealed there.
Well, good luck on your travels then. The place has been abandoned for the better part of a month.
I take
just
out my
suppose you happen
map.
to know-
Can you point to where it would be?
He points right to the middle at the big mountain. Big fucking mountain right in the middle. You can't miss it.
Right on the mountain. Alright.
Not on the mountain, at the base of the mountain. There should be a series of spires sticking up, made from a kind of rustic orange. They've rusted. Hence the name. Yeah, you'll spot it if you're coming from the south side. If you come from the north, you've got to go all the way around.
I don't suppose you know why it's been abandoned.
Last time I heard from the druids that made it back here, some of them were turning to stone. There was a strange thing going on there. One day they saw there was a statue, next day there were 5. Day after that there were 7, and people started going missing. So, you're not entirely sure why, but I don't know, something about the statues. We destroyed them
How long
and
ago?
more came. About 5 months ago. We sent some guards to go and destroy all the statues. Said there was well over 200 there.
Oh, please don't be
It
flipping weird
sounds.
angels.
It kind of sounds like what was happening on the mountain too.
Beats me. Either way, said they came from somewhere and attacked the druids there. And so quite a lot of them had to leave, head down to us. But a lot of them lost their lives. Not entirely sure how. As far as we're concerned, they could still be alive. They're just missing.
Alright, well,
And
Thank
that's
you.
all the information anyone knows then.
That's all we know, yes. Other than that, the Bastion of Rust is a dangerous place. Don't go too close there. Especially if you plan on casting any spells that aren't natural magic.
What counts as natural magic?
Natural
Good
magic is
question.
druid magic.
Oh.
Or a nature domain cleric. Or
So any of my spells won't work? Or would be.
It's not that they don't work, it's you're liable to get random things happening.
Ah.
What about
Wild magic table, bitches.
like healing magic that they would have access to?
can you invite me to a server? I can't join.
No one can.
I can't find the server either.
I mean, restart the server real quick.
Is it really worth restarting?
No, not really. We're going to end in a minute. But
What about spells that like
You aren't
they
there.
share with other people? No, I'm just asking for like a clarification.
oh, for a clarification, if it's not being cast through natural means, so a druidic or nature domain, then it will class as non-natural magic.
Oh, what about rangers?
Oh yes, rangers class as natural magic as well. I apologize.
Okay, cool.
Oh. All of Rook's 2 spells are fine.
Alright, so basically.
Well, I just figured, Hunter's Mark is actually pretty useful, so...
Hmm.
So it will be dangerous if I cast any.
Yeah, on me.
Yeah, it'll be dangerous if anybody other than Malcom or Rook
Are
casts
cantrips still
spells.
considered as magic?
They are, but they don't trigger. They aren't strong enough to trigger any wild magic procs.
Queglod, you're safe.
Scratch that then, I'm fine.
Until you need to go and cast Arcane Gate.
That's true. Or
Then suddenly you have
Chronos
True Resurrection cast on you, and you're like, oh man! Or your
spells. That could actually be pretty useful.
or your
given-
Burn, and suddenly you get all your sorcery points back. Or your Sasha, and you cast Fireball centered on yourself.
I mean, this is...
The thing is, that would actually still be pretty useful provided there were enemies around me.
Yeah, and then there's Elsyan, who turns into a potted plant for a minute.
Yes!
Hey,
It won't be the first time.
Elsyan has lots of potted plant.
Rook attacks potted plant.
Technically, it becomes the pot holding the plant.
No, Elsyan has never been a potted plant. There was a
Sam has.
Yeah, but
particular
Sam has
gift.
been.
There's a gift captain somewhere that I've heard rumors.
It was turned into a potted plant.
And
Also-
you know what? His crew didn't respect him,
And then he drew a card of many things and cast the
and
wish
won
spell.
the day, but just accepted no one would believe him. Because no one would believe that shit.
Except for everyone that was there.
Well, no, that's the thing.
Mm.
Because all you guys think, I didn't save the ship. I didn't. The only thing I fucking saved was the fucking mechanic. Actually, it was the chief gunner.
The chief gunner that actually literally the only reason we were alive that long.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Anyway,
Everyone
I'd
thinks he was
definitely
saved
happy
by tea.
so as you're made this aware, the druid heads off unless you have any further questions.
Don't think so.
I don't really have
Okay.
No.
You head off and you try and find the rest of your party. What did you roll? Do you remember, Sam?
I rolled a for my investigation, wasn't it?
For your 1d4.
Oh, 1d4, 4.
4. Okay. As you're
Make it
looking
something classic.
As you're looking around, you find a tavern on the I believe this is on the south side of town, called the Merry Wolf.
Can you send me an invite?
Suspicious already.
I don't need to because we're gonna be stopping in a minute, so I don't need to come by anyway. As you travel to the tavern, this description up real quick. As you get close to the tavern, you see it's in the same design as the rest of the city. The only things which really make it different are that it has a little bit of brickwork and other well-lined masonry built into the actual building itself. You see the timber is grand and built with quite a lot of prestige. You see a small walled yard and garden out the front, where individuals are otherwise sat, drinking and eating. Variety of dwarves and elves sat amongst one another in harmony, working and talking to one another. As you head inside, you can heading in through the ironwood door. You see that the interior of this place is absolutely immaculate. The chairs and the tables are very well taken care of. They are ironwood with a brass trim around the outside. The chairs are heavy but otherwise usable. You see various individuals, and it is relatively full at this time of day. You see individuals drinking rum, whiskey, various spirits, mead, ale and beer. As individuals are drinking and enjoying food and drink, otherwise talking to one another. You see off to the far right-hand side is a performer. He is otherwise doing what looks to be simple juggling, throwing various objects, tankards, knives, and other bits and pieces for tricks.
Baby.
As another individual seems to be casting thaumaturgy to light various things of theirs on fire, and otherwise tossing them and making it a more interesting show. As this is going on, you see a individual behind the tavern, currently standing there, a younger male elf, as he's currently there, just helping out one individual. Kind of sees you and kind of lifts his hand to wave you in. He has completely blonde hair, short and a little bit spiky across the top. Completely clean-shaven face, kind of palish eyes, a little bit oval, but pointed on either end. As you approach, and goes, What can I get you? After a drink, food, room, given your adventuring attire?
Okay.
I'll leave this. with
Elsyan would like to sue the sky for copying his bitchy elf routine.
Oh my god. Right?
No, he won't. We would like some rooms.
Yes, of course. For one such as yourself, that will be 4 silver pieces per room.
Excellent.
If you wish to have a meal and drink with as well, that will be 5 silver pieces per.
How many rooms do you have?
Right now, we have a fair number of nobles who have come in, but not nomads have come in. I would say we have fairly large rooms for family size. I'd say we have about 5 rooms available.
So it's going to be doubling up.
So does Sasha.
Well, Rook, come on, we're going to bed.
Rook eye twitches.
Fine, we will take 5 of the room. I'll pay.
Very well. That is 25 silver or 2 gold, 5 silver. If you're paying for drinks and food.
Yes, drinks. Will this cover all drinks and food?
No, it'll cover a round of food and a round of drink.
Got change for a platinum.
He takes it and goes, of course. Passes over the 7 gold and 5 silver.
Thank you. See, that makes Chris do the maths.
Nice.
Not that hard. I work in retail.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I don't. Short change me. How much was it per room? And it was 5.
No. Elsyan goes counting.
Elsyan suddenly goes, wait a minute.
Okay. Rest of the party, would you like to go there, or would you like to make a similar check to see if you can find out where the party may have gone?
I mean, I was probably going to get Sasha to send it,
Yeah,
but
that's a fair point. Sasha does
Yeah.
sending. You travel all to the same area. Actually, what I will have you do is I will have you roll a single check to come across potentially another tavern. Some of these are interesting.
A gay bar, please tell me this is a gay
Snuggly
bar.
duckling.
Okay. Oh, you got the one that's interesting.
Ooh.
As you
It's a one-tea brothel.
As you head up, going to the western side of town, thinking, well, they went straight ahead, you'll travel that way. You head round the large central furnace, and you come across a interesting-looking tavern. The tavern in itself looks comfortable. It has what looks to be a series of carts in place. It's rather large, suggesting it's more of a trader's inn. You see the building itself is a half-timber building with a stone-lined base and the brass embellishments. You can see that there are several chimneys coming off of it that are kind of burning and crackling. And you can see on the front, just above, mounted above the door and kind of nailed into the side, you see what looks to be that of a skull. Looking at it, it looks to be a troll skull. You see the border of the wood is ironwood, again embellished with brass. It is a very good inn. But you see the sign, and it catches each of you off guard. The Cursed Axe. And the design is the same as Rook's Astral Edge.
Alright, we're going in.
Motherfuckers, I just paid for rooms for all of
You move into the inn, and as you kind of head in, you can see that there are a number of individuals here, mostly traders, but quite a lot of them seem to be hunters, wearing various gear of leather or hide armor. Some of them wearing half plate and chain shirts. Most of them have weapons on them, but they've set to the side in a respectful manner. They're eating and drinking, enjoying themselves, but the food and drink seems to be a little bit more short. No spirits, no amazing bits and pieces. But you can see that there is one such individual drinking what smells like cider. And you can see a
Who's going in here,
series
by the way?
of kegs. The other team, so this would be Queglod, Bern, and Malcom. You see a barrel at the back which seems to be rust apple cider. As you head in, you can see one individual. She isn't behind the bar. She's otherwise wandering around as she kind of shouts out the table number, and a group of individuals kind of raise their hands. She walks over and slams a tray out in front of them. As you see a rather overweight female dwarf. As she kind of moves around, you see she kind of turns, wipes her brow, and goes, "I don't recognize you. Come on, take a seat. Not up what you want." She wanders over and kind of throws the plate into the back. You hear it clatter. You hear someone curse in Dwarvish in the back. As you kind of move in, your giant spider is kind of stopped as it has to wait outside.
I shrink her down. She can come in.
Oh, okay. You shrink her down, and she kind of waits on you, acting like a hunting spider. A few of the hunters look, but they're otherwise unconcerned. You see one such individual kind of looks over and you watch as he immediately reaches down and picks up what looks to be some strange-looking dog with kind of pointed ears, kind of a light blue context. As he kind of looks over, kind of tongue lolling out, and going as he kind of puts it down to the ground, gives you a thumbs up, and goes back to eating his dinner.
Place already.
I wish I had a rust monster right about now.
As you kind of wait for a moment at one of the tables, she comes over and kind of goes, "So, what are your names and what can I get you?"
Name's Malcolm.
Writes it down. What would you like? We've got various drinks, mostly lower end stuff. So we've got bitter, cider, perry, mead, stout, ale, beer, anything like that. If you're after milk or soft drinks, we have those too. If you're after food, we have mostly meats. If you're after any cheeses or crackers, we do that too. We don't do many vegetables.
I just like a drink, if not especially. At the moment.
What's your name and what would you like?
Queglod.
Sit down. And what would you like?
Mead.
I sit down. Alrighty.
What kind of meat do you have?
We have mutton, we have pork, we have various bits of beef as well from the outside farms. But most of what we're known for is sausages.
You got one sausage shaped like an axe.
Exactly twice in the sky.
I'll take some sausages and some cider.
Alright, sausages and cider. Would you like any cheese with it?
Yeah, take some
Alright.
cheese.
Cheese. And you, fella?
Do you have some red wine?
We don't do that kind.
That's whiskey?
Spirits aren't our thing either. We're softer alcohol.
I'll take what she's having then. Going to Queglod.
Yeah. Alright then, a tankard of mead. Any foods?
Could we ask a couple of questions about the peculiar name and
Picture.
picture of the tap?
Of course, of course. Ask me in about an hour once the rush is over. I'm very busy at the moment, as you can see. In about an hour, everybody will be going to sleep and we'll be taking care of it from there.
Alright.
No worries.
She kind of ticks you off. Alright, I'll get those to you as soon as I can. She kind of closes her small notebook and otherwise rushes out back. You hear her shout in Dwarvish various things as an individual replies, and you see what looks to be a rather large, bulky elf. Something you've never seen before, an elf with shoulders on him.
I resemble that. No, I resemble the opposite of that guy. Sorry.
As he wanders out, he wanders over to you, and otherwise puts a small cauldron in front of you. And you see coming out of it are small cocktail sausages in the shape of axes with small cocktail sticks placed in each of them.
Aww. I like this.
You watch as
Why?
he then reaches off.
Worst tavern.
You watch as he then reaches off to his side, pulls out a small dish, places it on, and then opens up a small bottle of reddish liquid, kind of pops the cap and pours it. And he goes, "A little bit at a time. It'll do you good." And he kind of slaps you on the back, take a point of damage, as he wanders back into the kitchen.
What if he's going to do that to a commoner?
It's fine. He slaps the column and then they eat the sausage. Kills him up.
I look at Malcolm and say, wait, do you have?
Do I have what?
Do you have send? I'm asking out of character.
No.
Oh, you're okay. Oh yeah, that's a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, that's Wilbur.
While you're sat down, you hear a sending from Sasha saying, "We're in a tavern called the Merry Wolf on the south side of town. Come and join us." I'll say this is going. Who would you like to send it to, Sasha?
Queglod, competent. She's the competent one.
Okay, very glad you hear this.
He's assumed Quedlod's the competent one. Oh god.
Okay.
Okay, what was the name of the tavern we found?
The Cursed Axe.
Okay, and I get, what, 25 words?
Yep.
Can she inform us beforehand, or does she have to reply?
The next 25 words she speaks will be put through.
So she can't tell us anything about it.
No.
Very simple kind of border around the outside. It actually look really good. And so obviously the idea is that we're going to
we found a tavern called Cursed Axe. The sign resembles Rook's axe exactly.
We'll just fill it up with water sources from there. I want to do that with glass, so the farm's a little bit secret. We can watch the Guardians come up to the surface.
We are investigating and will join you later.
Okay.
You hear from across the city. You should have said exactly.
Okay. As you sit there, your drinks are brought to you. About an hour passes. Other team who found the tavern, are you going to abandon your tavern and come here, or are you going to stay in your tavern? get food.
Rook is 100% going there.
Okay. Rook
Yeah,
Rook
I'm also leaving. We're just leaving Elsyan there.
Elsyan. Okay,
Yeah,
right, Chris,
he's
I've got
gonna
to ask.
use them all.
Okay. Elsyan will treat this like his own stately home. No,
Elsyan,
is the place
before
we're in
we
a
go-
class? Let me ask the necessary questions from Chris, and then I will decide to go with you guys because that's the only option I've got.
Okay.
Is this a classy place? Is this high end?
It looks to be, yeah. It's a high-end establishment. It's well kept by individuals. The beds and as you go and inspect the rooms, as the rest of your party abandon ship, you kind of go upstairs to your bed, and you can see it is a it is a 4-poster double bed with a woolen mattress and very well made. Otherwise, a very well made room, soft carpet underneath, and yeah, it looks good.
Oh, this is tempting. Just to stay here. I won't get my refund, but I'll get all your food.
Very true.
We can still come back and stay here. I'm desperate to go and find out what this place is all about.
Yeah, you can always keep your rooms here. It's just you'll get the food will then be passed on to just Elsyan.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it, I'll go with you.
Okay. Abandoning ship, you head out back into the town. Head over, joining the rest of your party, trying to jog and catch up as Sasha's clink-clanking through the street and Rook's also clink-clanking following along.
Clickbait.
As you rush through the streets, kind of, a guard kind of looks over and goes, is there a reason you're rushing? Looking at you, Elsyan, as your rest of your party members just clink-clank down the road.
Me? I'm going with that.
What's the
Elsyan is
rush?
genuinely confused. What's the last I'm going to go meet my party members? They found a different tavern, apparently.
Which one, if I might ask?
Oh, something about an axe.
Oh, the cursed axe. Yeah.
That's the one.
You're looking for good food and drink, head there.
Thank you. I presume from his accent this is a dwarf, not an elf with a dwarven accent.
Nope, it was an elf. I said an elf guard
What?
stopped you.
What? I'm confused. Elsyan's brain can't quite pass it. He can't quite go. This is making.
He didn't know where the source was coming from. He was looking for a dwarf, and then he realised it was a elven guard.
Is this an extremely tall dwarf?
No, might just be a very hairy elf. Who knows?
God.
Just Elsyan is looking so I'm sorry, but you are an elf, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Do I look
excuse me.
that different? And he kind of pulls a little bit of this chin scruff on his face.
I
Is it that good already?
I'm sorry. Just that's peculiar to me. I'm from the Elven Kingdom, and
Oh, I can tell.
yeah, you probably could.
You're not as tanned as we are. Kind of gestures to the slightly orange skin.
Okay. What kind of elf is he?
Lookingly more likely a wood elf.
Disgusting. No. Elsyan can respect the drow. They have their own place where they stay. Wood elves. They're just high elves who are lazy and didn't get a proper education.
Then there's
They are
Shadakai, Eladrin, and Sea Elves.
Okay, Eladrin. It's a lot of time for Eladrin, because they are just straight up Fae. Shadowkai, I have no idea what they are. They sound horrifying. What else? What other elves are there, Chris? For me
Sea
to...
elves.
Sea elves, pirates, a lot of them, criminals. They're the Elven Australians. Apart from the fact that the Drow are also Elven Australians, because of course the Drow live down under. Hey, you had to do it.
Underdown.
No, I know what I said. In Elsyan's mind, even though he knows full well they are on the same plane of gravity as we are, he still has to imagine they're walking on the cavern roof of the Underdark. Well then, thank you, and have a good day.
You too. Gives you a sound to you.
And so what's your name, sir?
Bang?
Yes.
Loxley.
Loxley. Robin of Loxley?
Maybe.
No. Have I secretly run into Robin Hood?
You don't know.
Robin Wood Elf.
Robin Wood.
God damn it.
Simon, there's your character for campaign 2. Sir Loxley of Rusttown.
No. He was Sir Loxley because his faith was Loxley. I believe. Yes.
Yeah, Loxley.
It was Robin of Loxley.
Robin of Loxley.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Loxley. Like I said, have a good day. This is, of course, a conversation he's having entirely in Elvish.
Yeah. You head down the road, and
in my proper elven accent.
Yeah. As you head down the road, you travel to the Cursed Axe. As you reach it, Rook, you see a sign. It is your axe. It's a complete copy. You wander into the tavern. You see your party there. You see Malcom as he kind of lifts up one of the sausages. Are you dipping it, Malcom?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm dipping a lot of it because I. He said a little, but I'm going a lot because why not?
Okay. You take one of the initially with the cocktail stick and you dip it in, taking rather a lot. Oh no. As you dip it, you take a bite. There's a moment where Queglod and Bern, you two are sat there and you're watching Malcom. Now, spicy food usually wouldn't be a problem for a tiefling. You watch as his face goes bright red. You watch as his tongue lolls out and he begins panting and he begins sweating. You watch as he starts panting, his voice croaks, and you watch as he kind of leans over, places his fist onto the table. And you watch as one of the dwarves in the nearby chair kind of turns around and goes, "Dragon's breath!" And you watch as the cook immediately comes out, immediately scans the room, wanders over and places a small glass of white liquid in front of you.
I like this place. And I take a drink.
It is milk, and as you do, your throat is soothed, but you otherwise feel very croaky. And he kind of leans down and says, "I told you, a small amount." He turns around and wanders to the kitchen again.
I like this place. I do.
Soon your drinks arrive to you, along with your party members who head in through the door. As they do, you hear the
Axages! Oh, I haven't had those in years.
Sasha, you should use a lot of this.
They're unique to this place. You've never seen them before. As you,
He's been here before.
Yes, you have. So you've probably been to this place.
Sasha knew about this place.
Not
I
necessarily.
think not about any place in this city I've been. It's
About
this place.
This
I
place.
can imagine there are probably other places in this town that have tried to copy these axages.
Axages, yeah.
I can imagine that it won't just be one tavern's idea for sausages on axes. Let's see what happens.
There's definitely been sausages as well.
Yeah.
I
That was
mean,
easy.
even elves have them.
As
Although we
you,
put them on fine rapiers.
so as you wander in, the dwarf barkeep kind of looks and goes, "Oh, you guests, find a seat and take a seat, and we'll order up your drinks and food soon." Head over to your party's table. You take a seat down. She wanders over and kind of looks around and goes, "Oh, you with them, are you? Or are you ordering separate?"
We're with them.
We're with them.
You see Malcom wheezing as he takes another sausage, gives it a light dip, and then noms it.
Okay then, Malcom?
He had a bit much of the dragon's breath. Is there anything that I can get you? Look, I need your names, and I'll want your drinks and food if you're interested.
Elsyan and just wine. Got some wine.
Unfortunately not. We only do things like ciders, bitter, perry, mead, stout, ale, and beer. If you have some soft drinks, we can supply plenty of that.
Mead. I want mead.
Mead, right? And did you want anything to eat? We do meats, crackers, and cheese.
Cheese.
Signs it off. Alright, next.
So,
Have you got any black pick mead?
we're going to tackle that tomorrow.
Black pig meat.
Idea of what we're going to do with that. So,
Black pick.
and
You know, there are brewers from Crag Anvil.
No, we don't export that far.
Ah, no worries. What meads have
We
you got?
do. Mead-wise, we have the winterberry mead. Something like that. That's made from the beets that are slightly further up north, more accustomed to the cold climate. If you're looking for the ones locally, we have the rust. We have the typical rust mead that we do, or we got the ones from Oregon, and we got the royal mead. If you're after just a regular mead, we'll give you some from our regular rust mead supplies.
There are a couple of reasons for this. First, because
I think I'll go for the.
Yes, I know. I can't
It's 20
stop
to
it.
11.
Right. Always best to try the local, I think. Rust mead.
Alright. And any foods?
Oh, I'd love another plate of these sausage axes.
Sure thing.
They came in a cauldron.
Yep. I know.
I'd love another cauldron of these sausage axes.
And then looks over to last one. And you, big fella.
Name's Rook. Do you take names of everyone you serve?
Yes, I do. I know everybody who comes in here. Taps her head.
Everybody? How long have
Everybody.
you been here for?
How old do you think? And she puts her hands on her hips.
You just fell into a trap. You just fell into a trap.
I'd
Oh my
like to
God.
judge.
How's it go? Rook, being a married man, just wants to run out the door right now.
Okay,
I'd like
okay.
to judge. What kind of check do I need to make to find out?
Oh, cool. This is
Also-
Okay.
25.
This will be
I
this will be an
assume
insight
I have
check.
to have advantage on telling how old I
Insight.
am.
Roll for me as
Insight
well,
check.
Chris.
Okay. Right. Brooks. Okay, I'll help roll these on stream. So,
Roll for me.
so we have Rook. We have Bern. Let me know what your insight scores are. Sasha, of course, you get advantage. Elsyan has a regular roll, and Queglod has.
I would have thought I'm proficient at it.
So, Queglod.
My insight is plus 10.
Okay,
Mine's plus
Queglod,
6.
you're too busy staring into your tankard and drinking as you rolled a natural 1. And everyone seems to be looking at your bird. Not peculiarly, but because several other people have birds also.
Fair.
You've got ornithology friends.
Elsyan, what is your insight?
+8.
Plus 8, that is an 18. Okay, you can roughly tell her age. Sasha, that was a 15 plus what?
10.
25. You know her age. I'll tell you in a minute. I'll let Rook decide, because what's your insight, Rook?
Plus 6.
Plus 6, that's a 20. Okay, you can tell her age as well. Malcolm, you got a 19. I don't need to ask what
Plus
your insight
6.
is. You're fine. And 13 on you, Bern. Is that plus 1?
No, that's a +5, but
Plus 5. Okay.
I'm thinking if I should lucky that.
Lucky it! You don't answer better.
3 luckies.
Oh my
You want it?
God. Yeah, it could get
We're
one
gonna go
right.
to sleep. Oh, wait, what time is it?
You'll after you do this, you'll go to bed, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna use lucky.
Okay. Next roll is a natural 3. Luckying that.
Okay.
That's a 10.
Go again.
And the final one, a 19. Paid off.
Mm.
Okay. All of you, except for Elsyan, who's a little bit, he's not used to dwarf ages. She is in her early 200s. She isn't too old, but she is probably on human level. That would be about 40, 45ish.
I like to think like all of us at the same time just say, 200.
200ish. And then
It's
Sasha,
All of us at the same time.
and then Sasha and Malcolm just turn around and go and just say like, 230s. Which she kind of turns and kind of nods and goes, very impressive. Very impressive.
She's older than Elsyan.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's probably why he doesn't recognise it. Never been that old before.
I'd love to say
Hasn't seen the
it's
same.
around the same age I am, but I can't.
I've been here about 140 years. Grew up in this town.
Keep record of everyone you've served?
She taps her head. I know everybody who comes in here.
Do you know the name? Where are we? O'Connor Yimmy. people.
Yes, Yimmy was a good friend. He came in every now and then. He had a series of other friends with him also. Minotaur, much like yourself. Related, perhaps?
Yes, he was my granddad.
Ah, runs in the family.
Yes. We need to talk. I have so many questions to ask.
Of course. As I said to your friends, ask me in an hour, and I'll be off rush.
Brilliant. I will catch you then.
All right. Looks around the rest. What did you want, friend? Look.
I will just have sausages, egg sausages, and mead. Just give me your best mead.
All right. Full round. I'll take in that in a moment. Goes around, orders you your food. Takes the coin afterwards. Sure you like it. After you've all eaten, you've drank, you've tried the dragon's breath of both too much and too little.
I attempt to flex on Malcom by eating a large amount of it.
You can, but you rolled a 3 plus your Constitution saving throw. Granted, it's better than Malcolm's natural 1.
I get advantage on poisons.
It doesn't matter.
Worth a try.
Yeah, if you're taking a large amount, it doesn't matter. Otherwise, you would have made it with just a regular advantage roll. And Malcolm gets advantage from being a tiefling because of his flaming heritage stuff.
Wait, I got advantage and still got a natural 1?
Yeah, but the thing is, your advantage doesn't matter if you take a big amount.
Oh.
Because let me guess, it would effectively bring it down to a disadvantage if you didn't have the advantage in the first place.
Exactly.
They still have advantage, but it's kind of
Rook, are you taking a big amount as well?
Well, I'm distracted, so I will let you decide that because I haven't noticed. I've just dunked
Okay.
and that's
All
just
right.
in my mouth.
There's a 6. You're distracted enough to accidentally dip it too much. Okay, that is a natural 7 on your disadvantage roll. So, out of the rest, you take it, you eat it. The rest of you watch as you're like, and he just eats it. Like it's a normal sausage, doesn't even notice. He's just intrigued at the place. And the rest of you are like, how?
Give me a try. Give me a try.
I bring out my jar of gelatinicity and I
Bern, living up to his name, disadvantage, that's a 12.
Oh, 22.
22. As you take a big scoop, everyone around you at this point is just watching as you just eat it and you're like, this ain't half bad. The rest of you watch as a single bead of sweat goes down the side of its face.
This is not bad.
On the other hand, Blood and Vira.
They're boiling.
Okay,
They're boiling.
Blood is a natural 5. Vira, ooh, no. Vira squirms a lot. as you feel your insides being turned upside down, it's very uncomfortable. You grab your drinks, you grab your food, prepare your questions, and that is where we will end the session for tonight. Thank you for watching, hopefully you enjoy. Don't forget to say fuck BT.
Fuck BT.
Yep.
Fuck BT.
Yep. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.